Alright. What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of an update review. So the things that came out, we're going to talk about Ren, who came way quicker than expected. We're also going to be talking about Kise a little bit, although those videos will be coming out right after the stream ends. Actually talking about it a little bit more in depth with my thoughts more cohesive for you guys to actually get an idea of that. And then we'll talk about the future updates, because they did give us kind of a little bit of a sneak peek, not really, but they did tell us what's going to be coming in the future, as well as just other big things. And then at the end, if we still have a lot of time, we'll open up a room and I'll let you guys do Ren testing, as well as talking about the potential unit buffs that we are getting literally tomorrow, right? So we are getting unit buff announcements tomorrow. So it's going to be a good time. So let me message in the Discord so people know. So... but yes, that's the plan for today. Should be a good time. Should be a chill time. So far, Ren looks pretty good from what I've started to see. So let's start with the boring stuff first. Let's start with just going over the patch notes, the actual patch notes that we got yesterday. Why did we get the announcement? There's quite a few, and I will also be using Epic 7 League soon afterward, so you can see some stuff. Okay, the big thing is arena season is ending soon, the preseason, and we are going into regular season, which I am not looking forward to the new arena season, because arena right now is actually terrible. I'm not particularly looking forward to arena season. Granted, I never really do that much arena, but regardless, arena is still quite interesting, because it's very copy paste team right now, which I've never been a fan of. But there's always that. So that one, it's whatever. But we are getting some really cool frames, as well as getting some really cool equipment. And equipment's the one I'm actually really excited about. So that part, I am excited that we're getting the new arena, because we're actually getting some really spicy stuff. And hey, what's up, Face Shine? What's up, Grits? How y'all doing? But yeah, let's actually look at some of the stuff that is actually coming with that. And let me just double check that my mic is on, because sometimes I forget to turn the mic on. Okay, so everything's on. Awesome. So first, as far as the frames, I mean, most of the people are not going to get these, but if you're someone that does get it, there's some cool stuff. I mean, these are kind of nice, but it's for 31st to 100th. There's people that do enjoy arena, so I know there's a lot of people that are going to try for these frames. I know more than one person that really wants these. So that's cool. That's nothing crazy, right? That's how it normally is. This one, I forgot to buy it this last season, actually. The reason one. We get another story, which the storyline is getting kind of crazy, kind of interesting. I wonder if anything's going to come out of this storyline. I really hope it does. But again, then you get some of the equipment pieces, which this is actually what I'm going to spend a little bit of time about. Jokisha buffs, I'm really hoping for them, because we do get buffs tomorrow. Let's actually look at these pieces, because they're actually really nice. So pen set is actually a set that not a lot of people farm yet, because Katie's is one of those hunts, right? It's one of the hunts that takes one of the longest. Even with a one-shot team, it's still pretty slow, right? It's just a really slow hunt, right? Because the boss heals, the boss attacks. It's really hard to speed tune. It's arguably one of the hardest bosses, if not the hardest boss for hunts, which is why not a lot of people are farming. But Penset got a buff a while back, and they're giving a Penset, which is level 88, which is really good, because you don't have to get Reforged materials. You can just get a Penset legit, which is the one reason that you actually would farm Katie's, right? That's the main reason you would ever farm Katie's, would actually be for these Penset pieces. So the fact that you're able to get them from arena really opens up a lot and gets people hooked into Katie's set. So maybe we'll see a lot more people farming Katie's after this. But as far as like the actual sets and the ones that look good, the sword is amazing, right? It has crit rate, it has speed, it has attack, right? It has health. It's really good for any type of rooster, and most units that use Penset will like these stats, with the exception of like Kise and a Kali that don't particularly want the health. But everything else is pretty nice. The chest, again, amazing for any Bruiser type Penset unit. A Ravi, Violet, right? All these units definitely want this Penset, like the Bruiser ones. Again, a Kali and Kise, this one's not that bad, because it's the defense. I mean, what else are you going to get, right? It has the 3 stats that you want. So if it high rolls into speed, it can go in a Kise, right? Or if it has a lot of speed, it can also go in a Kali, which are both really cool. Hey, what's up, Brer? I can show it later on. Healer, if people do ask about Ren when we get closer to talking about Ren. But helmet, again, it's really good, but no crit damage. And it's still a really good helmet, right? It's still a piece I would get. All these 3 pieces so far are amazing. The right side, as usual, Smilegate just wants to screw with you and wants you to have trash gear for your right side. The boots, if you dodge F-Res, it's suspect. This should be crit damage. I do not know why Smilegate still likes to do this. Also, attack main is not great on any unit that wants handset. So this is probably one of the ones I would skip. The chest, not the chest, the neck is decent. But again, the FRS and no speed. So that kind of sucks. But the health, attack, and crit rate, it's nice. Right? A lot of boosters could use that. And if you dodge FRS, you can easily switch it for something else, right? Like speed. Like for Violet or Violet. It's not that big of a deal, so it's still a good piece if you dodge the FRS. But we all know that these always work FRS. And then this one is arguably the worst one because I don't think you want effectiveness on any of your pen units. And it's on health. So it's like a Bruiser that wants to land debuffs is kind of weird. That also wants to do heavy single target damage. We don't really have any single one like this, except like unless you're doing like a weird pen set Alencia, which ironically might actually be pretty good, right? I don't know, maybe that's something to test around with Alencia, because Alencia, she gets the Ice Mine and she gets an EE. I could see Alencia using this in the future, right? Potentially. So, not absolute trash, but not great either. So these three are like really good. The neck is like okay, and the ring is like okay. Well, if you dodge the bat stat. The boots I would just not get, because I don't think flat attack is kind of weird. That's really weird. So that's cool, right? It's a good set. It's overall, there's 3 good pieces, which I'm happy about, right? Really great pieces on the sword, chest, and the helmet. The chest, arguably the best one. And I definitely need more pen pieces, even though I am farming KDs right now. So that one is really exciting. I'm really excited for that one. It's gonna be good. Storyline, I haven't even started this storyline, which I really need to. But it's just, oh man. I hate the really long storylines, just because it takes so long, right? And it's just like, I saw a format and I was like, and then we had all those hunt events. Man, they really didn't want us farming this one. I realized they really didn't want us farming this time, because literally they put hunt buff the whole month. So there has not been a chance to do this one. And on top of that, we already got the new side story with Ren. I haven't read this one. I'm kind of excited to do this one because it's short. And it's also Vildred, which I really do like Vildred. And apparently he's on his new skin, which is likely to be the epic pass that we'll talk about later. But also, I mean, Ran is a new hero. So they kind of released it really fast. It's not that good. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Apparently the side story is like kind of mediocre. And then on top of that, we're talking about like meh heroes. And it's long. Alright, now let's start with Ran, because he's next up on the list. So Ran, man, the more I think about this guy's kit, hey, what's up, Ethan? The more I think about Ran's kit, the more I'm like, man, this unit's going to be really annoying and really, really strong, right? Because he basically serves a very similar role to Strasse, and the fact that you can't tank him. Like, if someone picks his unit, you can't tank it. Tanking Cleave is actually not a viable strategy right now. Like, the more I think about it, it's just like tanking Cleave actually just doesn't work, right? You can't tank this guy. You can't tank Strasse, right? Because they both will just do so much work. So it's almost becoming a thing that, like, for Cleave, you have to cheese it, disrupt it, or counter it, right? With Violet and Rem and that stuff. But he makes it significantly harder for you to actually tank up, right? You have to put some form of speed contester, or even speed contest doesn't really work that well on him, right? You can't really ace-id him. Right, it's kind of a hard one to ace-id just because it's like he has the fastest base speed in the game. So the more I look at this guy, the more I'm like, man, this guy's gonna be really annoying to deal with if you don't have ways to deal with him. And I'm actually gonna go to the game for this one because his kit's already out. I don't have to show you guys like the slow version. And I am gonna show a video on this one, full cohesive thoughts on him. But the more I think about his combos and the way he works, I think he's gonna be a really, really rough option for him. Tao and Elena, yes. Tao and Elena does really good into him. That is true. Tao and Elena does good, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, for Cleave, you can't tank it anymore. You have to actually just cheese it or interrupt it, right? So it's not. And now outspeeding is also almost out of the picture with Ran. Let me see. Against him, let me actually put his kit and we can talk about it. There's a lot of other units that counter him. Angel Light Angelica is super good against him, which is why he's not going to be good for Arena, right? That's the only reason, is because Arena is all AOL. Because that unit is stupid. Alright, let's look at Ran. Hey, what's up, Justice? Or Justice. Man, I really just said Justice. Alright, let's look at it as his stats. He's really squishy. And I know, Healer, you have a tankier one, but this guy's not living for a long time. He does not live for... He's not sticking on the board for very long, right? He's kind of just going to pop his stuff. He's going to blow his S3, his S2, maybe get 1 or 2 S1s, tops, right? By the time he gets his S... I had gone against him. If you don't put enough damage, you can't actually not kill him. But for the most part, you most likely will be able to kill him. Because he's relatively squishy, but he's moving like this. So, like, he can take turns, right? him getting an S2, S3, and S1, it's not something out of this world, right? He's not bad into Rem. He actually does good into Rem. He's not bad into Rem. And into Violet, it's like, yes, Violet kind of screws him over. And AOL, and no, Alan, I don't know if y'all knew this, but AOL and units are never getting a nerf again. Smog had already confirmed in the last live stream that units will never get a nerf in Epic 7 again. They're just going to release counters. Which, I'm not going to get into that right now. We'll talk about that later, but that's probably going to be a whole video on why I think Epic 7 PvP is like heading a really bad path right now. And it has been for some time, and it's because of the no nerfs, right? But again, let's go back to Ren, because that's how we are in the thing. They're not nerfing any units. Does she need one? Probably. But they're not going to do it. They're just going to release some counter to her that's going to kill other units, and then it's just going to be an endless cycle. But as far as this kid, stat-wise, I could see him, people making him decently tanky. I could see him, the speed range, I will say, is around 250 to like 300, depending on what you're doing. If you're playing aggro, 250 is probably enough, because most people are not going to try to speed contest you, and as long as he can take one hit, that's all he really needs. And if you're playing him in cleave, he needs to be like dummy fast, like 300 plus speed unit, which is not impossible because he has such a high base speed, but it's very stat demanding, right? Because he wants like at least 3k attack, at least 100 crit rate, like a ton of speed. It's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, we already seen 333. Yeah, it's not that hard. It's actually really doable. It's just like he needs a lot of stats, so it's very, 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 very hard. I take full speed cleave, ran into a Bruiser. Why? That's so odd. I cannot see him working in a Bruiser draft. Like a traditional Bruiser draft, I don't see him working that well. Because you have a lot of, like, Maid Chloe can just cleanse. Amelia can just cleanse. You need an aggro draft. You need an aggro draft, though. I could imagine. Because most people should be able to cleanse or dodge by that point. Which is why I don't think, like, yeah, you could probably cheese, but you got a ping incoming. Oh my god, you'll actually try it. Am I gonna have to remake this video? Because I already made the video. It's already posted. It's just I haven't made it live yet. I'm gonna have to remake it and say he's actually good for Bruiser. I doubt he's good for Bruiser. I will die on this hill. I mean, he could work for aggro. I'm like more aggressive Bruiser teams. But let's actually look at the skills. Full speed ran in an. I mean, you do get immunity on Mach 5 speed, and if they can't kill him through Fallen Cecilia, that could be pretty annoying. Like Fallen Cecilia and Rand, that could actually be really annoying. Just because you can't really kill him that easily. He gets skill nullifier. Fallen Cecilia resets the skill nullifier if you have a slow one. That could be annoying. I could see that being annoying. I could see it kind of working, maybe, but not like insanely. But as far as kit, the S1 actually is better damage than I thought, right? But it does scale off of speed, so the higher speed, the better. But it has decent multipliers because it penetrates defense by 20%. He actually chunks, right? He'll do really good damage on a lot of heroes. It's something you can't ignore. It's not the craziest ratios on the planet, but the fact that you penetrate defense by 20 makes it so you do a lot of damage onto Bruisers, right? It's just not as much damage into Squishy, right? But that's the big one. Does a lot of damage for Pro with the decreased defense. That is true. Is he good for Wyvern 13? Honestly, I've heard that the S1 is really nice. But he doesn't have that many debuffs. Oh, he does have Stigma. I don't think the Wyvern can take Stigma damage, though. I think Wyvern is immune to Stigma. I think that's something that they actually added. If he wasn't, he would actually be pretty good. I mean, people are using him for Wyvern just because he can do decreased defense. He can cycle, and he's pretty good damage. And he's fast, right? He can actually probably lap the Wyvern if you build him properly. But I don't see him being like crazy good. Y'all really gonna make me want to remake this video. Gosh darn it. Alright, that's why we're doing this stream now. Before the video, in case I do need to re-record the video and repost it. It's a really good chance the more we talk and think about it. But as far as the S1, again, it's just damage. Let me actually look at the damage calculator for this one. It's not actually that crazy. Like, it's like just okay. And let me put the back. It's okay. It's not Kise, but it's like better than Landy, right? In terms of scaling. Just because you get speed scaling as well as you do damage scaling. Also because he self-attack buffs. He does kind of cheat a lot because he self-attack buffs. So like, let me actually put him Ran. Right, let's say we give him let's not give him an R5, let's say he gets RNL. I've seen this stat line already, and I'm pretty sure there's people with better ones. And he gets increased attack. So against a squishy unit, he's doing 8,000, which is gonna kill most squishy units, because he gets attack buff, right? With no damage reduction against a squishy, like against a cleaver, you're gonna be killing, right? So if you have RNO, woo, that's a lot of damage, right? When you compare it to something like Landy, let's look at Landy with the exact same stats. Yeah, that extra 20% penetration goes a long way, right? So that's a big reason why Rand does a lot of damage, right? And this is actually very doable. So that damage penetration does go a long way in actually doing like really freaking good damage, especially if you have a really fast one. And of course, there's people with faster ones. Like if you give them a build rate imprint, it just goes like, it gets pretty ridiculous because it's based on speed. And then the other thing is that the S3 I think is based on the casters, yeah, on the enemy speed. But this one, the S1, I mean, it's pretty nice damage. You can't ignore that, right? It's gonna be like a nice little poke against the Bruiser, because it has defense pen. It's actually gonna do still pretty good, right? 6,000, and then if, let's say you have pen set, it's not gonna add too much more, but that's pretty nice. That's nice. That's good damage on our Bruiser. If you hit with this speed and these damage stats, you're gonna be melting. Damn, that's pretty good. That's pretty good damage, actually. Like I could see why Arnoa looks so nice. I could see why Arnoa would be so nice. Arnoa sounds kind of stupid on this character. And then as far as like if you're fighting a cleave, right? You're looking at like cleavers are not this tanky. This will not kill an Acid though. You're not gonna kill an Acid with an S3, but you know, you gotta take your fights where you can. But it will do a lot of damage on a lot of teams. And then if you actually put him on Symbol, then you will actually kill Cleave, right? But then you miss access to RNL. This will get really close to killing Cleavers. So that's pretty good damage. Pretty good damage, but it's really, really solid damage. It's not like insane, but it's pretty good for what he's trying to do. Well, okay, let's say an Acid has 900, right? With Symbol of Unity, you will kill Acid. Acid usually does float on like 10k HP. Without Symbol, you don't kill Acids, or you get really close to. And that's assuming they don't have any mitigation, right? If they have any form of mitigation, you're not killing Acid off of an S3. So, give him Vildred's artifact. What's Vildred's artifact? It's like Summer... Sword of Summer Twilight? Oh yeah, same thing with Symbol. I mean, Symbol and Sword of Summer Twilight both do really good damage. I would just use Symbol so you can actually hit more reliably. Let's see. But how many people take Acid without a damage? See, without the artifact. With an artifact, you definitely kill Acid. Without the artifact, this will pretty much kill an Acid. It won't cleave all cleave teams though. Especially if they have some form of mitigation. Then you won't be killing at all. If they get any mitigation, he won't kill turn 1. Which pivot cleaves are chillin', right? Pivot cleaves are absolutely chillin' against it. Yeah. Tank Ts are chilling against the damage. But then it's the other part where he's decreasing the defense. And most of the time you're going to see decreased defense. This is going to a lot. Oh yeah, he does a lot of damage. That's pretty good damage. I'm probably going to have to remake that video. Damn. That's fine. That's fine. We need sleep. But yeah, I mean, this one can be pretty annoying. Very consistent damage. Very, very solid. Very pokey, right? Especially if you get skill nullifier a lot and you actually keep him alive. Right? Degen Ran when? I could see Degen Ran in the future, unironically. But he's a really good debuffer, that's a thing. So let's see it here. Okay, now as far as the other skills, yeah, I should really do stream first so I don't have to remake it, honestly. I should stop making videos before the streams, because the more I talk with people and the more I think about stuff, I'm like, man. Like, this will actually be the 5th take on Ran, because there's so much stuff that I'll finish the video and I'm like, I forgot to mention that. And then I'm like, man, I have to go back and add it in, because he's way better than I expected. But as far as the S2, I mean, attack buff, immunity. Immunity at Mach 5 speed is actually really annoying for a lot of controllable teams, right? For me, this is really, really annoying. And the self-attack buff, I am a sucker for self-sustaining units. Or units that don't rely on other heroes. I really like this. I really, really like this. I'm a big fan of like units that self-attack buff. I've always been, right? Tamato, Luluka, all those units. I always like a unit that doesn't rely on other people to give him self-attack buff. And then you can come in, and the S3 is what's just... This is so brutal against so many teams, right? This is a unit that if they don't have an answer to, it's a force ban, right? This is brutal, right? This S3 is actually brutal. And if you have souls, it's actually just like, you're screwed, right? You're screwed if you're slow. and you're gonna be slower than him. And if you legit have to have an answer for him, or you lose the game, because this is just absolutely stupid. Like, what this does is ridiculous, right? AoE strip. It's basically a strip because it's two buffs, right? AoE strip. Decrease defense with 85% chance. Gives him self-skill nullifier. Gets attack buff for himself, so it actually does pretty good damage. And could potentially kill, right? That's crazy, right? But yes, there's a lot of counters to this. Yes, a lot of them are meta. The only reason this unit is not going to just break arena defense is because AOL is everywhere, and so is Maid, and so is Bellion. So with Bellion, you don't get this guaranteed, which means you're not hitting Maid Chloe's, right? With Angel Light Angelica, she'll cleanse the stigma and get skill nullifier, so you can't get follow-up. And then Violet will just kill you, right? Or whatever the fourth pick is, right? So unfortunately for arena, he's not doing a lot, right? He's not doing a lot for arena. That's something that it's a fact. In arena, he's not gonna do a lot. In Guild Wars, he can do a lot because his counters are not as prevalent. Because assuming there's no Violet, that's free. Right? Just soul burn this, strip, decrease defense, stigma, and then just come in with someone else. And GG, you cleave any FCC defense that doesn't... Like, you cleave any FCC defense in Guild Wars. He will destroy any Guild Wars defense. This guy will actually slap FCC defenses. As far as Guild Wars goes, he'll be really good for Guild Wars. And then for RTA, I don't see him as an early pick. Because if Violet is open and AOL is open, you're screwed. Or if they have Elena and a Tywin, you're screwed. Right? So unless you're taking Violet on yourself, which a lot of people are doing right now. But first pick Violet is actually just stupid. And it's actually really good right now. You first pick Violet, right? Always. You always... I honestly think Violet might be the best first pick at this point. He's so stupid right now. So you kind of could fist work Violet and they don't have a counter to him. And if you prevent AOL, because if you prevent AOL, first pick Violet, the only thing you're left with is Elena A Tywin. That's it. That's the extent that your counters will go from there, right? That hard counters, which is not a lot, right? And then if they pick one or the other, if you last pick them, there's nothing they can do. You just win. But yeah, it could happen. So you do lose a lot of counters, but again, it's just a unit that if you have no answers to this guy, you actually just lose. Oh yeah, of course. But I'm saying if AOL is banned. Yes, AOL is the best first pick in the game. Absolutely. AOL is usually pre-ban though. No one lets the AOL through. If they're letting AOL through, oh yeah, you pick that unit right away. That unit's broken. You always first pick AOL. Or you pick FCC if you're a cleaver, right? That's usually how it goes right now. FCC, really good first pick. AOL, really good first pick because you don't want the opponent to take it, right? Because if you don't pick it, they will 100% pick AOL, right? It's a fact, right? If you don't pick AOL, they will pick AOL, right? Unless they don't own it. And then you get a game where no one picks AOL. Or they just last pick it. But I could see him being really, really annoying. Cleave is just always going to be the most, like, versatile. It's becoming extremely versatile. And he just adds to that versatility, right? It just adds so much versatility to, like, Cleave drafts. And Samurai Seria just got a massive buff with him as well. Because him and Samurai Seria were, like, actually just made for each other. Right, because you get a unit that can strip, decrease defense, and if you give him what's that artifact called? Silver Rain, then you also get attack buff on Samurai Seria. So it's actually like the unit perfectly made for Samurai. Like Samurai Seria will just kill with bombs right after. I've heard both, Niguen and honestly, I'm not gonna remake. I think I'm gonna stick with the video I made. I think I made a pretty fair analysis. I do think he loses really hard to AOL though, and Violet. That's my problem with him. That's the biggest problem I have with him as a unit, is that he will never be a like first pick type material unit because he does have so many reliable counters in the game. Like there's a lot of units in the game that do counter him, that are meta. That's the other thing. A lot of people do pick Violet very early on. A lot of people pick AOL. A lot of people pick Elena or have Elena built. A lot of people have Bellion right now, right? So it's a little bit harder. If he ever becomes more popular, people will actually find ways to deal with him, right? But again, you can't really acid him, right? Because he's way too fast. He can kill your acid, right? If you try to speed contest him, unless you have mitigation. And with AOL, the thing about it, Myth, it's like, let me show you like an arena defense, for example. Why I think for the only like his problem is really shown when you look at arena, but you also can see his potential when you realize that if they don't have any of these units, they actually just lose, right? So it became a tool in Cleaver's kits, where they have a lot of units that are forced bans, and if you pick that unit last and you already have like 2 other forced ban units, then it's just like, I'm screwed. right? So it's tough. But let's look for example. Where are my top defenses? So y'all can see the toxicity that people have as their defense. Where's the Belian AOL defenses? They're like everywhere. Oh, right here. This is a decent one, right? No AOL though. Wait, where's all the AOLs? What the hell? Usually there's a bunch of AOLs. Oh, there they are. They're down here. Granted, it's like preseason, so I know not everyone's tryharding as much, so they might be testing. Yeah, let's look at this one, right? What does Rand do against this defense? Like, realistically, how do you set up a cleave to win with Rand against this defense? You can't soul burn, right? That's taken away from you. Unless you have a very fast Samurai Seria, you're getting cut, right? Unless you're using your own Polides to cut, maybe. If you're using Ren Polides, that could actually work. Ren Polides could work. But they're removing Stigma, right? But you're not landing anything on mid Chloe, right? So, okay, let's say Polides goes. You have to kill the maid. So Ran, let's think Ran Polides, right? Ran Polides. Ran sets up. Maid Chloe will get a ton of turn advantage. You have to very tightly time it. Let's say you have Polides, right? So you need Ran Polides. Polides will go. I'll stop a lot of the CR push. Polides will get to go. Polides will get to S3. There's a good chance you miss the Landy because Ren is water, right? And Maid Chloe's not getting any debuffs because you can't soul burn. Polides is not killing the Maid. Polides may kill the Belian with defense break. Who do you have afterwards? Maid Chloe or Sedum? Full Ren, Caesarea plus one-shot DPS. Yeah, that's honestly what you would need. Yeah, you would. It would be very unit specific, and you of course you're gonna outspeed, right? You're gonna outspeed with Ren. Your Polides still has a chance to not cut unless you have a very fast Polides, because AOLs are typically what 220 speed or 260 to 280. Let's say like a 280 one. Polides gets a 40% CR push bar, but she gets a 20% CR push. You don't cut the AOL. You would need a very fast AOL. Or you need Caesarea, right? So you need Caesarea, Polides, Ran, Caesarea to give you that extra 15% that you need for Polides to actually cut. And then yeah, that cleave will actually work. That cleave will actually work. That cleave will actually work. But you need those 4 units exactly. Polides, Caesarea, Polides, Caesarea, Ran, and one-shot DPS. Because you have to one-shot the main. You need all 4 of those units to be able to cleave this defense. Which, I mean, if you have it, you have it, right? And you will sweep through arena, right? But it could just as easily change this to a Violet. So yeah, I could see that working. A very specific cleave can actually work. This man talking about stuff, having fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun theorizing. That's a good offense, actually. I am talking to you. I'm reading what you guys are saying too. This area one-shot DPS, so watch the Shuri Kise, something like that. Yeah, that team will work. Yeah, and it'll work really well too. Unironically, wow, that might actually push that away for AOL. Yeah, unless Belian procs a bunch. Yeah, Belian counters on Ran. That could be bad. And if it's like a Rem, then if it's like Rem Bellion and they both counter, you're kind of screwed. Buff predictions will be in a little bit later. I'm still thinking about Ren, right? I'm trying to think how good he will be. In Arena, if you have a very specific cleave matchup, a very specific cleave team, I could see it. Is it worth to get the artifact? I don't think it's okay. It's an okay artifact. I'll go to that one next, because that's also part of Rand's banner. But yes, okay, I am convinced, yes. You can actually cleave these defenses with Rand, but you have to have a very, very, very specific setup for him. Very, very specific setup. It's like an absolutely very specific setup. But yeah, I could see that working, right? If you're at that level. But for most people, they're not gonna have all 4 of those units well built enough to actually deal with these type of defenses. Or just AOL in general. A lot of people don't have the ways to actually deal with AOL. She's not an easy unit to deal with, unless you have Maid. Hey, Robbie Spice broke that part 2. Oh my goodness. I said, wouldn't it create a must-ban situation with Champ C? We pick Rand with Samurai Seria? Yes and no. Not necessarily. Champ C does beat Samurai Seria, but you can just force ban that unit. I mean, there are units that he counters. I really don't think Ran is an early pick unit. For sure. For sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, I'm a super slow gamer and I have that team. Yeah, that's fair. Cleave on your account. That is true. I mean, it's a unit that you should definitely pull if you're considering a cleave. I think he's absolutely a great cleave unit. I don't think he's brain dead though. That's the thing that makes him really interesting. He's not a straight on brain dead unit, right? He's actually not a brain dead unit. You actually have to have like a very properly built units and team around him to actually use him, right? And for aggro as well, I don't see him being in a full Bruiser tank team. In a more aggressive Bruiser, I could see it. Because he's so disgusting. If you don't have an answer for him, you actually lose the game. Right? If you don't have a cleanse that can outspeed, if you don't cut the cleave, if you don't disrupt the cleave, you're not tanking him. You are not tanking this guy. Unless you have like, unless he has no souls and you cut somehow. They're kind of different though, because Basar, the thing that Basar is really good at is that Basar pushes back. He does not have any setup on his S3, right? That's something you have to realize. He needs someone else with him to help you push up. He is tied to a Sedom, Polides, or something like that. There's a lot of units that he's attached to that you kind of have to have with him to actually function, because he doesn't set up into the rest, which makes him susceptible to getting cut. Which is why the best unit to go with him is arguably going to be Sedom and Samurai Seria, right? Those two units will be really good with him. Otherwise, if he's just on his own and he just opens, there's a lot of units in this game that cleanse. So you have to go right after him, right? Or you have to have a very fast unit to just follow up without getting interrupted, which is not always easy to do, right? Because there's a lot of units that push up in this game. Like Elena, Jeeper, even Sage Ball to an extent pushes up. That's why my reasoning why I don't see him being good in a full standard Bruiser / tank draft. But I do see him being good in an aggro and cleave team as a late pick option that just absolutely forces a ban. It straight up just forces a ban. Because if you don't have a way to deal with this guy, you are going to lose the game. Which is why for Guild Wars he's going to be unstoppable. Right? But again, just Violet. I'll just first pick Violet from now on. Prevent AOL, first pick Violet, and he does pretty good in Turan. Violet does do really good in Turan. But Blind does counter him to an extent because you stop the souls, which means that you can go a little bit more FRES based. And he's not going to have any effectiveness. Unless they have a very particular effectiveness build, no one's going to build him with enough effectiveness. He needs to have dummy high speed. It'd be something you lose once. If it's a blind draft, then you could lose to him. But if it's not a blind draft, there's no way. There's no way, like, if you know your opponent uses Ran and you, like, there's a lot of things you can do. The first pick Violet strat, you first pick Violet with pen set, right? And then if they start picking Violet counters, then you just go full cleave. That's the Violet strat. That's the Violet strat that I'm cooking up in my head. It's like, just first pick it. If they overcommit to countering him, then just cleave. And hey, what's up, Ryuji? But okay, as far as Ran, so as far as like final thoughts, honestly, I think I'm going to keep the video. In the video, I basically said if you're an aggro type player or a cleaver, you are 100% pulling for this guy. Absolutely. Right? If you've ever thought about cleaving or if you ever thought about being an aggro player, you definitely want him. He's going to, if not now, in the future, he will be like an insane unit. Right? He does have a lot of counters in the meta. Big ones being AOL and Violet probably being his worst matchups. But again, you can supplement that. All units have to have counters. But his are, there's quite a few, but if you don't have counters, it's straight up just click a button and you auto win, right? He can be that oppressive if it comes to it, right? Which any unit that can do that in a draft is very, very scary and very, very good. So overall, has really good potential, but it's going to require some pretty freaking good gear, right? Sleep easy win, yeah. If you have ways to deal with his counters, like if you have ways to deal with Violet and AOL with him, then you're set. Which usually is going to be in an aggro draft. Yes, the AOL does not cleave, does not stop decrease defense, but she does give skill nullifier, and he does in CR push up. AOL will, and Stigma doesn't apply until after he attacks. So AOL is getting the full 24%, right? So AOL will get a 24% push unless you have a very stupid fast unit following up, or you have Samurai Seria, or you have Sedom. You're getting cut by AOL, right? That's the big reason, right? Or Polides, right? Which Polides is probably one of AOL's best counters. So if you pair him with AOL, if you pair him with Polides, you can actually cleave AOL pretty reliably. Assuming you're able to get both those units through, right? And assuming that after you do Polides, kill her, which there's a chance you don't, because if you miss a decreased defense, really bad for you, since it's only 85%. So there's a chance you still lose, even with Polides AOL, because then AOL will cut right after Polides, and then you get S3, and then, right? So there's a lot of like weak points into him. But again, any unit that, this is a well-designed unit. I actually don't have complaints with him as far as like being too broken or too overtuned. I think he's a unit that has very clear weaknesses and has very clear strengths, and can abuse the strengths very well, and you can abuse the weaknesses well as well. Right? It's a very well made unit. Most cleave units are very well made. I will have to say that. Most cleave units are well made. Yeah, you can just use Dilibit as well. Most cleave units are like well made. Like they are balanced for the most part. Some other units are not. Like AOL was not a balanced unit. Kyrik was not a balanced unit. They had a lot of issues. But he looks pretty decent. As far as the artifact, I saw someone ask about this. It just feels too cheese. Right? Like, he has so many other things that are just so much better. The only time this would be really good is if you're using Ran to anti-cleave. If you're using him to anti-cleave, yes, I could see this artifact. Right? Because then the opponent doesn't get sold. Like, against a Pavel cleave, okay, yeah, if you use this artifact, you can definitely steal some wins, because you steal the souls, they don't get their Pavel book, and then you can win off of that. But honestly, I just think that him on Silver Rain is probably so good, or Symbol of Unity, to actually kill Speed Contester. Right, for Speed Contester, Symbol of Unity just sounds way too good. And for setup cleaves, I just think that the Silver Rain is too good. Silver Rain is too good for him. Like, Silver Rain just makes him such good utility unit. Yeah, it's kind of an artifact. I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to make an artifact that's really good at disrupting the opponent. As a speed contester. But as a speed contester, he's okay, right? I still think Acid is better just because he's easier to build. This guy's really hard to build as a speed contester. Like, extremely hard to build. And at that point, if you have him as a speed contester, you should be cleaving with him. Because if you have the gear to make a good Ran, you're probably also cleaving, right? So, kind of gets to that point. But as far as the artifact that I keep talking about, that Silver Rain, in case you don't quite know what that artifact is. It's this artifact. It's a 4-star artifact, so most people should have at least one copy. But this is Silver Rain. You give attack buff to the ally with the highest attack for 2 turns when you use your S2, which is really, 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 really good. It's just really, really nice, right? And then, of course, RNL is just so good at cheesing fights. Like, this artifact just actually opens up so much damage potential, right? RNL, if you have a max RNL, you have 2 chances to proc, and you have a chance to proc multiple RNLs, right? There's a chance you can do S2, S3, S1, S1. Like, if you actually are able to get the perfect RNL luck, oh my god, you know how much damage you're doing with that? You're like, decrease defense, you get attack buff, you decrease defense, and then you get to smack and just kill. That's so good. RNL is actually such a good artifact for him too. It's a little bit more cheese, right? 20%, 2 chances for 20%. It means you're not gonna be getting it. You're gonna be getting it like 40-ish% of the time, right? About 30 to 40% of the time you're gonna be getting RNL procs. But that other 60%, it becomes useless. So like Silver Rain is definitely the more like reliable like this. And hey, congrats on the pull, because he's actually really solid for aggro and cleave. I think I'm definitely gonna pull for him in case I ever feel the need. I feel like I need to cleave, you know, and I want to use Summer Asteria as well. I really want to use Summer Asteria with him. I think he'll be really, really fun. For Ran, his stats will be 280-ish speed, 1.k. They do different things, but I think in today's day and age, I think Ran is gonna be better than Bastar in most situations. RNL is a really good artifact in the game. I wish there was like a set, like, okay, I come from Summoner's War, and RNL really does remind me of Violent Runes. And I used to hate and love Violent Runes, so that's why I really like RNL, but it's very RNG. But yeah, overall, I think he'll definitely be good. Like, no cap. I think he'll definitely be a good unit. If you're a cleave and aggro player, you will absolutely pull for this unit. If you're a Bruiser player, depending on your Bruiser draft, he's gonna either be useless or he's gonna be like a good addition for a last pick. I haven't grabbed him yet, and I'm gonna try because I like to have every single unit, but I most likely don't see myself using him because my drafting style is very bulky and I am very slow, right? I'm not taking turns away from my opponent. I don't have a mate to pair with him, right? So like, I don't have a very aggressive Bruiser draft, so it's very easy for my opponent to actually deal with him, which is why I don't see myself actually building him, even if I got him, unless really far down the line I really wanted to play with Sunrise Area, right? In like a really fun aggro team. I think that would be really fun. But for aggro teams, aggressive Bruiser teams, cleave teams, he is like a must-have. I would absolutely pull for this guy if you're someone that cleaves or plays aggro, right? If you don't play aggro, it's not as necessary. You probably won't use him that much then, but... Oh, man. Hey, Robin Belian, that's one of the things we'll talk about because she's the next Mystic Banner, and that's actually a really big discussion. Let me go really quickly through this. For Kise, honestly, I just... She's really good, right? But, I mean, Rand kills her. Unironically, Ren actually counters her because he can actually one-shot her out the gate, right? But Kise is still a really good... I wish I had a good Kise. I just don't have the speaker. She's just really hard gear requirements. If you have the gear for a good Kise, she's a beauty. I really wish I had a very, 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 very good Kise. A very, very, very good Kise would win me so many games, right? She's such a good, like, oppressive pick in the right situation. But for the most part, I mean, with Landing, Violet, there's a decent amount of counters for her. Guild Wars season is ending this Friday, in case y'all didn't know. Shout out to the guild that I'm currently in for Thick. We're definitely going to be in a close one. This is just like QOL, we're getting the Rising Pack, whatever, and then just like a bunch of stuff, right? It's a pretty small patch, nothing really crazy. Just basically unit releases and like side story releases. But now to the question for the other one, and yeah, Polides comes next week. Now for the more like speculative and things like Ravi versus Belian, right? That's a big one because both units are good units, right? So I don't know if y'all knew. Let me find it. So let's look at the live stream now, so you can get the other part in case you missed it. So first, Polides is coming. I would say safe for Polides over Kise. Polides is a way better unit in today's meta. She actually is just getting better with time. Like the more units that are released, Polides just keeps getting better and better and better and better and better and better. Because more and more units are getting very good non-attack S skills. And Polides literally looks at them and it's like, no, you don't do that. Don't do that. Right? And she's good in every draft. She's the must pull. She's borderline must pull. For PvP. She's that good, right? She's that good. She is such a good unit. Polides is such a good unit. You definitely want Polides, right? You absolutely need a Polides, right? So I would pull her over Kise 10 out of 10 times. If you can only pull one, I would definitely pull for Polides. The other one is going to be the Ravi. We talked about Ren. Where's the Ravi announcement? Okay. Ravi versus Belian. I actually own both, and I use both very often. And overall, it's really hard, right? As far as value, and yeah, Polides doesn't really do too much against Ren. Ren is definitely Ren is a must pull if you're an aggro / cleave player. I think that unit is way too good to pass up. You're gonna hate yourself if you're someone that wants to play aggressive and you don't have Ren, right? You're gonna be like, why didn't I pick this? You know, why didn't I grab Ren? Right? Because he's that good. But as between Ravi and Belian, the big thing is that as far as like value, Belian is used in more content. As far as playstyle, they are both bruiser. They both can fit in aggro teams. They both can fit into pentatank teams. They both can fit into aggressive bruiser. They play in almost the exact same teams, right? And usually you do see them together. You usually will see Ravi and Belian. Man, it's a really, really hard option. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either. Belian has a chance to stay relevant for longer, though. Just because Belian has access to cutting souls, and we're getting so many strong soul units, that the more that really strong soul burns appear, the better that Belian is going to get with time, right? It's a unit that over time, Belian definitely is going to start outscaling Ravi as far as like longevity, right? Because the second that they release very high, like Ravi is really strong, right? But she does have some very clear weaknesses. Same with Belian, right? They both have very clear weaknesses, but they do such different things too. But they play like they play in the exact same teams. Longevity-wise, Belian will probably be meta for longer. A Ravi right now is probably stronger than Belian as far as like RTA goes, right? Although both are incredibly strong, right? Like it's very hard to say one over the other. So I would personally, if I was in the situation, knowing me, my playstyle, and having played with both, I enjoy Belian a lot more. And Belian overall is easier to build than A Ravi. But A Ravi has a massive skill ceiling, really, really solid options. And you just have to watch out for certain counters. And very, very much more flexible than Belian. Belian's not good in every situation. A Ravi pretty much is good in almost every situation. A Ravi has a better Guild Wars defense presence than Belian. Belian has a better arena presence than A Ravi. RTA, they're about equal. PvE wise, Belian does have really good AoE pressure as well as strips. A Ravi is really good at boss taking, right? Like for raid and Lavi. So they're pretty much equal almost all across the board. It's literally just a matter of preference. I don't think I can tell you one is better than the other. That's where I'll end that, because I really don't think I can tell you one is better than the other. They're both really, really good. So it just depends. Do you want someone that has injury and really good single target damage? It's a very hard to kill bruiser. Or do you want a bruiser that just completely counters certain mechanics in the game that can high roll and completely destroy a game on their own? So yeah, it's honestly your pick. You cannot go wrong with either or. I still would say if you're someone that cares more about longevity, like you want to use the unit for a longer time, there's a better chance that Belian will stay relevant for a longer time. A Ravi's passive says grants 30% CR, but people build 100 CR. Do you know why that is? The CR's already shown, right? So that's already shown in the stat line. It's a new update that they recently... Honestly, you should put both. Yeah. If you can put both, you want both, right? Players honestly, instead of Abyssal Crown, will see play a first and strength grants immunity for the team. No, Knowledge Seed. The Pleiades artifact is trash, dude. I'm sorry, but the Pleiades artifact is so cheese. I have seen people try it on Fairy Tail Tenebria because they're like, what other artifact am I going to put on Fairy Tail? Aside from Crown. And it kind of does work because people do tend to kill F10 it. But man. Yeah. Pleiades artifact is not great. But yeah, it already shows it in the stats. So this 97% is already taken into consideration that I have 30 extra crit rate, right? And if you look at my gear, there's not a lot of crit rate, right? Like there's no crit rate here. There's no crit rate here. There's some crit rate here, right? 6%. No crit rate, right? Good crit rate, right? So it's like 32, 38 crit rate, 38%. And then like 52%. And then plus the 30%. That's why I have this much. And yeah, I talked about Ren. I will definitely release a video. TLDR for Ren, I think for aggro and cleave teams, he's a must-have unit. If you're a Bruiser player, it's not as big of a necessity for Ren. So, I would say that. But yeah, I would try to go both. I think Belian and A-Ravi are both really good. For A-Ravi though, I will say wait until they release the new unit, or like they tell you what the new unit is. This is a huge mistake for free-to-play players. Do not pull the first week ever for a rerun, ever. Because then you might miss the next broken limited unit, right? So just make sure that you see who the next 5-star is going to be, right? So just know that. And I was cute for you because CR was really hard to build. Yeah, CR is really hard to build. But she's pretty nice as far as ER. I'm like okay with my build. I need to give her pen set. That's the big thing. I have a couple pen pieces on the way. Plus the sets that they're giving for arena are actually like perfect on her. Like all the arena sets are actually just like beautiful on A-Ravi. So I will likely update my A-Ravi soon because I actually do use her a lot. Green or blue or red? What do you mean by green, blue, or red? For Ravi? But yeah. Just know, A-Ravi's coming. So there's that. As far as other things, he kind of announced it here. So just Kise's skin is finished. They haven't really shown how it's gonna look completely. They kind of showed it a little bit, but they didn't show like the full art. They just showed the part art. It looks great. I mean, the skin always looked amazing. And that will transition us to the next part, which is gonna be the buffs that come out tomorrow. Oh yeah, it's right here. So this is the skin. I mean, it doesn't really show too much. It just shows like how she's gonna look. She looks gorgeous, right? She looks gorgeous, right? I really do hope it's MLK run though. It's probably gonna be Emma Lilius though, is my guess. I think it's not gonna be MLK run. It's gonna be Emma Lilius, is my guess. But yeah, this skin is beautiful, right? Like it looks great. This will make people want to climb an RTA to at least Masters, right? But, oh man, the side looks gorgeous. She really needs a buff, though. I really, really hope they buff her, but she looks amazing. I love the skin. I think it looks great. It's really fitting for her. I really, really, really like the skin. And then the other one, the penetration we talked about. Epic Pass and the new skin. So both have been confirmed, right? So, yeah, that's the next one that we're going to talk about. So the other part is that we are getting a specialty change next month. And we are also getting a skin. Most like... Oh, dude, if they could put that skin on Kise, I would freaking love it. But most likely, for the SC, it's not confirmed, right? Who is getting the SC? Epic Pass. Yeah, the skin and the Epic Pass is the skin. And the SC... Most likely, the SC is going to be Pillis because they have not shown any other material for any other unit. So it makes this most sense for Pillis to get the SC because they actually showed that they already have the concept art for Pillis. So it's most likely we're getting Pillis, which is likely to be... Oh yeah, I saw that's the Hawk one. I'll talk about that too in a little bit. I'm kind of concerned about that one. I hope it's still okay on though. But we'll talk about the theory-wise. Battle Pass, Epic Pass is like Battle Pass. You get a skin and you get a bunch of rewards. You always get the Epic Pass. It's worth 500 crystals, so make sure you save up for it. But for Pillis, honestly, if she gets the SC, she will be relevant no matter what they give her because her base kit is already really good. Like, she always had a really good base kit. Her S1 is a Provoke, right? This will likely get pushed up to 100%, right? That's kind of obvious. This will get 100% Provoke. Really, really annoying on any night because you can just control the pace of the fight. And she doesn't have effectiveness, but her stats are not great, right? They've never been that great. So that's really solid. S2, at the moment the caster's attack, increase defense of the caster. This is, again, extremely annoying. You have a knight that's going to stick to the board for a very long time, right? And every fourth attack, you get a increased defense for all allies for 2 turns. That's also really, really annoying, right? So a unit that gets increased defense, making her tankier, and after 4 hits, she gets this. This is already a really solid skill, right? This is a very, very annoying skill. So she can be extremely, extremely bulky, right? And then the thing that she was missing is the stat line, right? Because right now her defense is not great for what she does. So this could be really annoying for cleavers because you get an on-command increased defense, right? Like an unreactable increased defense. If you hit her 4 times, this is going to trigger. My guess is they're going to make this down to 3. I could see that as well. They'll drop the requirements down to 3, or they'll make it so the buff is more than just an increased defense, right? Like it might cleanse, right? I could see that, right? For Pillis S2. Very likely. Very, very likely. It could be kind of toxic if they do that, though. Because then you get a cleanse every 3-4 attacks and an increased defense. That could be brutal. And then the S3 is straight up a stun and a big barrier according to your defense, right? And it's on a very low cooldown. And usually the S3 gets something else. I have no idea what they can do with this. But this skill, again, could be extremely, extremely broken depending what they buff about this skill. Like what extra effect they add. Right? Because it's on such a low cooldown. You can soul burn it to instantly get it again. Right? Like what if they make the provoke 2 turns? That'd be talk. Or they give something besides barrier. Like another buff for the team. There's a lot of things they could do that would make her really annoying, right? But even now, it's like a consistent barrier scaling on your defense on a unit that is getting even more defense, right? So, yeah. And like the only thing holding her back is her base stats are abysmal. Like her base stats are ass. She's way too slow, right? She's not going to provoke. She's not going to be really doing anything. But she's a knight. She can have Elris, which means she can provoke consistently. She can give increased defense, and she can give a barrier. She can be extremely annoying. Stall Rem on it, like she could be really, really annoying. And like the thing about it, it's like she could even be meta. And we have been slowing down the meta a lot. Granted, we do have Rand now, who's probably gonna speed up the meta again slightly. We're in a weird situation where it's like fast, but it's slow at the same time. It's a really, really weird meta. But yeah, it's a very slow unit, and she suffers from low stat line as most 3-stars do. But with a EE, or not with an E, with an SC chain, she could easily go up to 105 speed, right? Like 105, 104, very easily go to that speed. Maybe get a little bit more defense, a little bit more HP, and then she's set, right? She could get defense, like more strength, like more hits, so she can actually do like decent damage as a defensive scaling unit. She could do a lot. She could be very annoying. Let's just put it that way. This unit can be extremely annoying if they actually do the SC very well. And she's most likely getting the SC. She already has a great base kit. At worst, she's going to be a decent defensive option. At best, she's going to be the next Meta Knight, right? So, either or, right? Either going to be a really good option, just a nice defensive option, or it's going to be a meta unit that's going to just make you mauled, right? But again, she's free to play. So, there's that. And hopefully you get a pill list from like summoning, because you can't actually summon 3 stars a lot. So yeah, not a bad unit. And then as far as the skin for the epic pass, they kind of already hinted at it several times, and it's probably gonna be Vildred. I don't think they're gonna do Crimson Armin just quite yet. It's most likely gonna be Vildred. Vildred is most likely the skin that we're gonna be getting for the new epic pass. It's like I'm 99.999% sure that Vildred is getting it. Yeah, it may be a Ross level good. That's true. Potentially. She's a good base kit, right? So it would actually be a good candidate. But as far as Vildred, him getting a skin is very fitting. We're about to go to the Eastern Continent. People love Vildred. He's gonna become more relevant again with Ran, right? Because he actually pairs extremely well with Ran. It's really funny to me that him and Ran are actually like really good. Like him and Ran are ironically a really good duo. And he just got his EE, right? So recently got an EE. It's pretty much confirmed that he's going to get a skin too. So it's going to sell because he's buffed. And he fits really well with his master, right? And he gives speed buff to his units. So you can see like some Mach 5 cleaves, right? And I could see that happening. And I could see him being popular. Just because of how good this this imprint is. Right? And people do occasionally use them. You see him more for PvE. But people do also use them for PvP occasionally. But yeah, him and Ren are really good together. Because you just set up. And then you just come in with a Vildred. Vildred does such good damage. That just cleaves the team completely. Right? And that used to be the cleave team. Used to be like decreased defense and Vildred. But the thing about it now is with Ran, you can have Ran and Vildred. And if it's a 2-unit cleave. It's actually a 2-unit cleave. I would not be surprised if people make 2-unit cleave videos. Because him and Ran is a full cleave team on its own. Right? You only need those two and you can completely wipe a party. Right? Which is pretty cool to think about. And now you get 2 flex slot. Before with the old one, it used to be Basar to strip. And then decrease defensor. And then like cleave 1, cleave 2. Right? Or attack buffer. Right? So you needed like a attack buffer, decrease defensor, stripper, and then Vildred. Right? But now it's a 2-unit cleave. Which means that you get 2. You can have a 4-unit really cohesive cleave. You could honestly do him, Ran, freaking have Kise to stop Polides. Oh man, there's so much stuff you could do. And he's dead, but we get a lot of his backstory, like how he was before. But yeah, those 2 units actually really good together. It's a self-sustained cleave, which is always good to have. 2-unit cleave, always really nice to have, right? Always really good. And he gets attack buff from Ran too if you give him Silver Rain. It's a fully sustainable cleave. Yeah, the attack buff is because of the artifact though. But yeah, Ran can actually do everything that it's like a wet dream for old school cleave, right? It's actually a really good, like, oh man, it's really cool to think about that we've come this far, like from old school cleaving to this not being absolutely like game breaking. So that's crazy to think about, that we went from like, if this was released in Epic 7 a year ago, this unit would have actually broken the game. Y'all realize that, right? If this unit was released a year ago, it would have absolutely broken Epic 7. I don't know. I haven't read the storyline. I don't think Ran has died that I know of. I think he's still alive. Vildred died. And that's not a spoiler because at this point, if you're watching this video, you probably finished episode 1. Vildred does die. I don't know about Ran. I don't think he has. But yeah, no, unironically, like he actually would have broken the game. There was no Polides. Think about this. 1 year ago, there was no Polides. Elena was like, okay, it was kind of doo-doo water. No AOL. No Belian. So you're guaranteed souls. No Violet buff. No Rem. There's like in the olden days, oh, this unit would have been everywhere in cleave. Like he actually would have no counters for arena defense. That's crazy to think about. It really does show you how much Epic 7 has grown as a game. Selene artifact on him, it's not great because it relies on your opponent. I don't think he has so much better artifact options with Silver Rain to give attack buff or Nala, RNL to actually do damage. Or Symbol of Unity to just do more damage as an anti-cleave, right? But Vildred did die in episode 1. Yeah, dude, this unit actually, like, he would have actually broken the game. That's crazy. That's how much power creep has been in this game recently. Which is not a good thing. Right? Like, that's the one thing that I'm not happy about. Man, I'm gonna get in this field again. I don't want to get in it, but Epic 7 PvP right now is so bad. Epic 7 PvP right now is actually so bad. Like, we're getting unit after unit after unit that's just absolute power creeping. Like, the power creeping in this game has gotten ridiculous recently. Right? Like, 12 months ago, units that are getting released now are like unironically, Fairy Tail Tenebria, if she was released now, I would not think she was like the hottest thing on the planet. I would think, oh, she's like up to par. Right? F10 was beyond her time, definitely. But now it's like, man, it's just the power creep in this game has gone ridiculous. Like, it's gotten to a point where like so many units are bad just because they just don't do everything, right? Like, this unit is just, oh my god, dude. Oh man, granted the balance patches are cool because they bring units back, but at the same time, man, no nerfs. I really think that's bad, dude. Like, I really do think that like not nerfing is such a problem because, like, okay, how are you gonna make a unit stronger than this for control without just making it bonk, like stupid broken? Like, how do you go up from this without just absolutely breaking the game? We asked the same thing with Fairy Tail Tenebria, and I made that video that was like, oh, control is dead, because unless they release a unit that's stronger than Fairy Tail, it's not coming back. And you know what they did? They released a unit stronger than Fairy Tail, right? Oh, man. Which unit do I think started power creep? Carrot. Unironically, Carrot. Oh, and F10 it did. F10 was first. F10 was definitely the first one. F10 made it so the game would never be the same. Because she, like, all Cleave was getting slowly stronger. Bruiser was getting slowly stronger. Control was getting slowly stronger. Fairy Tail Tenebria came, and she just completely blew the gate out as far as Control came. Right? The second Fairy Tail Tenebria came out, no matter what Control unit they released, it had to be broken. Right? That's just like, F10 pushed the bar for Control way above anyone else. The Control counters became super broken to try to deal with her. Right? So it was the start, right? She was the start to just blowing the lid of like the potential that you could have on a unit, right? Because like they literally, for AOL, they took F10's weaknesses, they changed a little bit of her strengths, right? And they made AOL, right? And AOL, like, she blew the cap out the water, right? For anti-cleave units, she blew the water for control. She blew the water for cleansers, for debuffers, right? They just blew the water. And then there was Carrot. Right? She was for Bruiser, right? So for Cleave, for Control, it was F10. Then the unit that blew the cap out the water for Bruiser was Maid and... where is she? And Carrot. Carrot really broke the game as well. Because Carrot made it so if you didn't have dummy F-Res, if you're squishy, you were a bad DPS. Because you would just die to Carrot. And you couldn't kill her. And Frenzy had to get changed because of Carrot. Think about that. Without the Frenzy changes, Carrot would probably still be pretty strong, right? Without the Frenzy effectiveness changes, you have to remember that effectiveness doesn't scale as well in like it used to, right? So for Bruisers, Carrot blew it out the game, blew it out the water for Bruisers. You couldn't compete with her. And then Maid Chloe also made it so like sustain is stupid on this unit, right? It's like, and then Amelia came, and then after that, it's just been power creep after power creep after power creep after power creep, right? It's just like, it's getting to a point where like units are either trash, like they're like this guy trash, or not this guy. They're either like more/ill enough trash where they don't do anything, or they have to completely power creep another unit to be relevant, right? That's a problem, right? The last unit that we've gotten that I think was very well designed is actually close to Charles. And I know you guys may hate on him because his animations are ugly, but he is actually a very well-made unit. Same with Strasse. I will give credit to Smilegate where credit's due. Although Strasse is still power creep because he power creeps any single DPS unit, right? Why ever use a unit that can just one-shot like Strasse? But Closer Charles is the last non-power creeping, well-made unit Smilegate has made in a very long time. Non-trash. This guy actually Smilegate's best assigned unit of the year. Absolutely, extremely well-made. Why? He doesn't power creep any unit. he has his own role, right? He has his own niche. He does his own role. He does his own thing, right? Closer Charles does his own thing, right? The second part, he's not overly broken, right? He's really good, but like it's like you don't force ban him, right? You don't feel forced to force ban him. There's ways to deal with him, and you can do a lot, right? So that's cool, right? That's pretty cool for Closer Charles. It's well made, and he's just a really cool unit, right? Except for the animations, right? He's a very, 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 very well made unit. And he's standalone too. He doesn't need support. He does his own thing, right? He can be a self-sustaining unit, right? Very good unit. This guy, extremely well made, right? Closer Charles was the last good unit that Smilegate has made this year. Everything else has been power creep or it has been trash, right? There's no in between. But yeah, let's see some of the stuff y'all are saying. I just got into my little rant. That game without balance special, absolutely. Oh yeah, and then Rem compared to Alencia, yeah. What if we get SC changes for old 4 and 5 stars? 5 stars, I think SC changes are not realistic. That's what EEs are for. For 4 stars, I could definitely see 4 stars getting SCs, kind of like Mercedes. If they take the Mercedes routes with 4 stars, I wouldn't mind. Like getting a really strong artifact for the unit. Although it makes artifact selection worse, which is what I wouldn't like. But if they give like minor buffs like Mercedes, it'd be fine. But yeah, the problem with nerfing is just because of like customer thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Good for the end of time, or Kid is just simply unbeatable. It's like the thing about it is, Chris, you say that now, but there's gonna be something more broken down the line. But yeah, F10 had definitely just kicked it off the meta. Ida was completely overshadowed by F10 when she was released, right? Nerfing to being in the game, we're at a point where 50% units is straight up buffs, which is worse than nerfing 1 or 2 units. Yes, I can see a couple more monsters there with a new character that can make a clone. I think there's definitely a lot of versatility for unit creation. There's still a lot of things they haven't done, right? They haven't really experimented with a lot of seal units. There's a lot of room for like really cool stuff. Like the new 3 stars are amazing. It's just their kits are attached to like terrible stats, which is good. But most of the games not paying money, nerfing power creep is too much. Yeah, I've never reached a tipping point because of 2 things: old character buffs to counter new characters and bans. Ryuji, I usually would agree with you, and for a very long time, the Epic 7 formula has worked. But this game has got... The patch is not going to be until tomorrow, which I'm really curious about. That's what we're going to talk about next. This discussion kind of goes towards it. They used to nerf units. Yes, the last nerf was a very long time ago, though. It's been a really long time ago. Little Arc Galaxy. Yeah, Specimen says it's big updates. Take control enemy. Imagine you that can take over control. Okay, I will say this. If you want to know very cool unit design, just go to Summoner's War. Okay. Quick side note. I know I keep saying it, but I recently started getting back into Summoner's War. And Summoner's War has done a huge things. And Epic 7 copied a lot from Summoner's War. Right? Summoner's War copied a lot from Summoner's War. Like, we're talking a lot from Summoner's War. And a lot of the units that are in Summoner's War could easily be in Epic 7, like the mechanics. And Summoner's War has really cool mechanics, right? That they can definitely implement if they want to. There's a lot of versatility for unit creation, right? And there's a lot of room for like new content, right? Because Summoner's War has shown that there is a lot of room for new content. But yeah, as far as right now, the problem is with banning and like the system that current Smilegate has with nerfing units, with all that stuff, is it's getting to a point that our cast is getting pretty large, right? And there's a lot of units that are like really, really big. So we're probably gonna point out how many buffs are needed, which is absurd. Yeah. I mean, Broman is... Okay, look at this. What does Broman do that AOL doesn't? Do just better, right? Like, why would you ever pick Broman over AOL? Like, in what world, right? Like, in what world do you pick Benelum and Roman over AOL? %75% chance to silence versus 100% chance to silence, right? That's one. Granted, you can crown with this, right? There's that. You can crown, right? I'll give you that. Better base speed, right? You're faster than Broman. I think you're about the same bulk as Broman, or about the same stats, honestly. Actually, I think they're same base stats, right? They have the exact same base stats. Silence for 2 turns, but really low chance, right? This skill, 4-turn cooldown. Okay. AOL's, I think it's also 4, right? And then Broman S1, you're basically, before I attack Minor Burst, attacks all enemies, decreases counter enemies. This can be pretty nice, but very low chance, very RNG, right? If it's forced AoE too, right? And it doesn't silence, right? It just pushes back, right? Whereas for AOL, you still get the silence, you still get the strips. Fortune cooldown, you get protection for your allies, you get the CR push, and you get the silence consistently. And then if you get AoE'd and you have her on Whale's Breath, you can get the skill every 2 turns. Right? You can get the skill every 2 turns with her. Every other turn you can theoretically get the skill up, which is disgusting. Right? No unit should be able to do this. And on top of that, her stats are about the same, but she gets more cycling because she also gets an extra passive where if you don't hit her, she gets more stuff. Right? And there's just no world you pick Roman over Angel of Light. But yeah, in the world I don't have AOL, exactly. What does Kawana do? Lots, Guider. Yeah, there's a lot of units that just Lots does do stuff. Lots does do stuff. I can't say Lots is absolutely used. He's actually really good for some PvE content. But my thing, it's like normally before this, it was not that big of a problem for nerfing units. And I would have agreed. In the past, I don't think unit nerfs would have been a big deal. But the thing about it, it's like, think about this. Back in the day, the broken units. This is the standard, right? For broken units was Arbiter Vildred, right? This guy was broken. This was the definition of broken. If you ask someone a year ago who is broken in Epic 7, they would tell you Arbiter Vildred and Kise Bellona. Those are the 2 broken units in this game. That's it. Those 2 units were like what people would say this is absolutely unfair. They're just absolutely broken. And you could say units like FCC were extremely strong, right? And Basar was really strong because you could... Basar was strong. Dude, think about this. Basar was strong because he could guaranteed push you back in strip. Ran literally... He doesn't get the pushback or the unable to be buffed. But he can guaranteed strip, decrease defense, attack buff, and give immunity. Like, we're getting to a point where units are getting pretty overloaded, right? It's tough, right? Like, there's a lot of units that are just getting outshined by new units. And it's every gacha game is going to get to this point. Especially the ones that don't have nerfs, right? I also understand why you don't want nerfs is because, like, that feels very scummy, right? Imagine they nerfed AOL. I know people that have admitted to me and have told me that have said, hey, you know Angel of Light Angelica? Yeah, I dropped like over $500 for this unit. And there are several people that are like that. That we're talking like hundreds of dollars spent to pull in this unit, to play with them. If Smage comes and nerfs it, there is no refund on this planet that makes up for how scummy that would feel, and you would never spend on this game again, right? Versus if your unit just becomes irrelevant after like 2 months, you got your mileage out of it, right? You feel okay. How is Ram and Ram? Ram is fine. I think Ram is great. I think Ram is fine. I think Ram is a really good unit. I think Ram was well made, right? But Ram outs. Okay, this is the funny part. Ram basically outscales Yufin for all the PvE content and Ervalin, right? Why would you ever use Ervalin or Yufin when you can use her for all the PvE content? She just straight up does the jobs that that regular Yufin and that Ervalin do, but she just does it better, right? So, still power creep, right? I will say that. That there is that, right? But it's like, there's that. And then the other one, there was also, Ram is actually a menace. But the weird thing with Ram, the reason why she's so good is we don't have enough grass units to deal with them. Right? That's a big thing, right? Like when you think about like the thing about Rem, there's not a lot of grass. Violet, right? That's okay. Who else deals with her? I really do think that Rem right now she feels like a problem because she's so high rolling. If she decides that you're losing that game, you will lose that game. Landy doesn't really beat her though. That's the thing. That's the funny part. Landy's not a hard counter because Landy does not have the burst damage to deal with her. Pavel, yeah. Pavel, yes. Pavel does. But Pavel is a cleave only. Senya doesn't do that good into her. Because you can't blow her up. You can't blow her up. Think about it. The only unit that can blow her up is Violet and Pavel. Pavel you need souls for. If you don't have souls, you're not killing her. Right? And the Beeline just completely counters her. Violet, yes. Violet destroys Ram. Landy can't kill her. Landy can't kill her. Lilibet, if you pick Lilibet, you're losing the game. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but if you pick Lilibet, you're most likely losing that match. If you're playing against someone with equal gear. I'm not saying that there's no grass unit that counters it. There's no grass unit that can deal with her properly. Right? And now, full, I used to one-shot her with Rylot. I will agree with that, right? I used to one-shot her with Rylot, right? I would say that. I would say that, yes, I used to one-shot her with Rylot as well. But Rems higher up, dude, they are actually disgusting. No, like, Rems get to a point, you are not killing her one-shot with, like, Rylot and, like, Luna, unless you have, like, dummy setup. Or, like, a dummy cleave one, right? Like, that, like, there's no reliable ways. Yes, F clear, you still need someone. Yeah, 2 units to counter 1. Like, half the time, and then the thing about it is they have to focus her down. Because if you don't kill her, she's gonna heal. She's gonna decrease defense. She's gonna get demon mode, which means that you lose a bunch of counters, right? And then she gets a guaranteed decreased defense with Soulburn that probably kills your big units, right? So it's just, she's a very high roller unit, but I do think that she's not broken. I will say that. I don't think she's broken, though. Like, that's what I will say. She feels unfair because she's so high rolly, but because we don't have reliable counters to her aside from Violet. Like, Landy's not a reliable counter. Valkyrie Clary plus X, well, you have to Soulburn because Valkyrie Clary could miss. And even then, if they have her with Maid, they just bring her back, right? Like, Violet is the biggest counter to her right now, right? That's the big thing. Or cleaving her, right? But then in cleave, you can't cleave with AoE or she counterattacks you, right? So it's a unit that she's not broken, right? I'm not trying to say that she's broken, she's unmanageable. But the reason she feels so strong is because there's no reliable counters. Yeah, it's the same thing with Charles, right? Like with Charles, the second we got good fire units in the game, Charles disappeared. Charles was gone, right? The second we got to good fire units being meta, Charles is gone. You pick Charles now, you get Carroted, you get Sermiad, there's so much stuff that would just destroy you, right? So it's like, yeah. Like, she doesn't have reliable counters, so she feels very high rolly. In a protect the Ram team, you're not killing her. They're just going to roll her back, right? And then she just gets to destroy you. Slowly, right? Slowly but surely. She'll get there and she'll kill you, right? But if we had, like, Violet just destroys her, right? So if we had more Violet type units, we'd be fine. As far as, like, to deal with her. Yeah, it's not the fact that she is oppressive. It's the fact that she, like, doesn't have reliable answers, right? Violet to an extent is the same. Yeah, Leica could be it. If I want non-debuffer attack, don't advocate for more Violet type. Okay, when I say Violet type units, I'm not talking. I want a Violet Kise. Does that sound? Or I want an Earth Kise. That's what I want. 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 I want an Earth Kise healer. Is that too much to ask for? I want a unit that is like Kise but Earth. We have Fire Kise, which is Coward. But I want a Earth Kise. That's what I want. I want an Earth Kise. Pavel does not count because Pavel relies on souls. Kise is like, I open the gate, I already have my stuff. Kyrik sucks because he doesn't get barrier. We don't talk about that. But I still want a Earth Kise. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for. Or buff Alencia, right? Who can also deal with her as a bruiser. Right? Alencia could be pretty good into her, right? Because Alencia theoretically can be really good into her, right? So a buffed Alencia or a Earth Kise would make her not as good. Right? That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for like an insane unit. I'm not asking for Violet, right? Although Violet is overly broken, right? I'm just asking for an Earth Kise or a buff to Alencia. Because Alencia does really good, right? Into her. But I'm talking like if Alencia could actually kill, or if Alencia, you know, because Alencia can strip the immunity, which is really nice, can set up increased defense, and if Rem counterattacks Alencia, you have a higher chance of getting your proc, right? So that's good, right? That's cool. So Alencia has potential, theoretically, to counter Rem. But Alencia is just missing an EE, for sure. She needs a very big EE buff. Or a buff, period. To like make her more reliable and stronger. Celine could also work pretty well for Rem, see? And Senya is a good answer. Senya being in the meta, I think is a healthy. Rem, again, just to summarize this whole discussion, I don't want to advocate for all these units because we also have to talk about buffs. Let me answer your question, Lord Volgran. I want to have debuff attacker but don't have Luna. If I want a non-debuff attacker but don't... Oh, you're talking like a single target DPS. Usually it's Luna. It's usually just Luna and Lorena. For just raw single target damage, it's just that. You can honestly get away with using Landy. Lord Volgren. You can honestly get away with using Landy. For most things that you would use Luna and Commander Lorena, you can use Luna or Terran Guard. Although they both units are nice to have for certain situations. But you can probably get away with using Stena and Luna for most other situations. Rylet, right? Violet. Violet does okay, although she puts attack break. To make a busted Soul Weaver that isn't ice. Yes, why can Amelia be not an ice unit? Yes. Yeah. I agree. That's a good way to put it. So overall, all I'm trying to say with Rem, because the whole RT, oh my god, dude, I could go on and hours on how bad Epic 7 PvP is right now and how unbalanced it is. But we'll go one by one. Opinion on Sahak. I'll do that one next, and then we'll actually talk about units that are going to get buffed. But let me summarize this real quick. I think Rem is a unit that right now that has very limited answers that don't always feel good to draft. They don't feel naturally to draft, aside from Violet. Violet feels great into her, right? Is that one unit that feels great? But usually, like, if Violet is banned, it's really hard to deal with Rem. Like, it feels very, very good. Very bad. And yes, I'll open a room in a bit later. So yeah. It's buff this Tina again. Yeah, honestly. Buff this Tina, please. Just give her like 20 speed, dude. Give her 20 speed. In a way, broken units, I feel like bring more spice to the game than bland units who just work. Ryuji, that's what I think. Closer Charles. Closer Charles was the right call, right? Closer Charles was actually a very well-made unit. But it looks like they can't do that too often. Fight someone with equal gear by being smart. It's the first time in PvP that I feel like I can't fight someone with equal gear by being smart. It's very much a problem with those units just being not good enough. Yeah. It's a lot of drafting and like getting RNG'd. Stena, like, it's... Oh, man. But yeah, Rem is a product of there's no answers to her. Like, there's no reliable answers to her. She's like Charles when Charles was broken. There was no reliable answers to Charles, which is why Charles was good. This Unhealable is overkill. By the way, this Unhealable is overkill. The reason they added this Unhealable is to make Rowana bad into her, which is stupid. Which is so stupid to me. Why did they make this never be able to hit Rowana type teams? They should have never done that. Because she could have had an answer if they didn't give her demon mode with a way to play Unhealable. Why? Easily could have made her balanced, but they wanted to make her broken. They knew what they were doing. They knew when they were testing, they were like, oh, dude, Rowana kind of kills this unit pretty hard. Let's give her Unhealable so she doesn't get hard countered by Rowana. So, there's that. And she can ignore FRES when she has demon mode. So, as far as the hack, let me actually pull up the picture while I finish talking. But my thing with RTA right now is I feel like it's very high rolling. You can still optimal your opponent. And I say that because, like, for example, Healer. He's climbing really high up by just picking off meta picks that people don't have a realistic way to deal with, right? And then don't know how to deal with them properly, and using like things like Samurai Seria that are like very slept on, right? So and he gets wins, right? He can outsmart his opponent. He has some quirky builds. It's really hard to like fight things like that, right? Which is, it shows you can still outsmart your opponent, but like the fact that you have a button that says I can out RNG you or I can high roll you and I can win is not a good thing. Right? But let me see. Where is that? I know I saw that post. I know someone showed it to me on Reddit that talked about like MOK run. Not actually being MOK run potentially. Why is it so hard to find, dude? Honestly, that's a good sign that there is such an active Epic 7 community, actually. I wonder if I got deleted because of the spoilers. Okay, I can't find it. But basically, y'all know the MOK run, right? Oh, you're saying just go to... Okay, I could probably do that too. That would probably be quicker. I'm trying to look for a Reddit post. Well, where is it? I forget that Epic 7, like... Man, people already have so much stuff for Ran posted. Dang, people are fast. Let's see... Okay, so... Y'all remember how we thought this was Kairon? Because he looks exactly like Kairon, like exactly same art style as Kairon, right? He's apparently not called Kairon, right? And here, my theory though is that this is all a bait, right? I think this is a I think it is a big bait. I think this is still Kairon just before he became an acolyte. Yeah, that's my guess. Because Tenebria was not called Tenebria. Y'all remember Tenebria's side story, right? Tenebria was not Tenebria. Y'all know that, right? Tenebria was not called Tenebria, right? Tenebria was called some other weird thing, like when she was actually a kid. They revealed it in the Halloween story. I don't think they revealed her name, but she was not called Tenebria. It could easily be Kairon before he became an acolyte. Very, very easily. Which is why I wouldn't say this deconfirms that this is Kairon. It looks like an LD unit. People are saying it could be a new unit though. But I just, man, if they give a unit that looks exactly like Kairon, man, that's crazy. Was it Alice? I could see it being Alice actually. I don't remember. It's been a long time since that side story. I'm kind of excited to reread it actually. I actually like the Tenebria side storyline. But yeah, this could still be Kairon. I don't think that's a disconfirmation, right? We found out that Tenebria didn't really choose to be an acolyte. She was kind of like forced to be one. Kind of. So this could really, but very much be Kairon before he like converted, right? So it's not impossible. It's still very speculative. I mean, we'll see. Was the patch notes released? No, the buffs are coming out tomorrow. But yeah, as far as that, that's another kind of news that supposedly it's gonna. I'm pretty sure it's still Kairon. There's no way they bamboozle us like that. I mean, he could be called something else. I mean, we do have a lot of different units that are called other things, so it's not like impossible. It's not like something that wouldn't happen. But okay, now for the last part of the stream. Maybe last part. I think this part is going to take too long. Probably the last part. I did want to go into RTA and try Ran. And like, you guys can try Ran on me. But, that is true. It is a sketch. It could be different. Van, I do agree with that. It could still be a new unit. It's just, I wouldn't say it's either yes or no, right? So I would, there's still a chance. There's still a chance. I still believe that it's possible that it's Kairon. I wouldn't just completely deconfirm it. Like someone in the Reddit, they just took that as 100% it's not Kairon. I still think it's up in the air. But okay. Now as far as unit buffs. If you guys didn't know, we are getting a buff patch tomorrow. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. We are getting a buff patch tomorrow, which means we get unit buffs. So as always, let's start with the MLs, because these are the units that I will be shocked if we don't see one or both of these units. If we don't see either of these units, and we see some... I do not know what other unit they could put in here that could, like, change it up. That is not these two. The first one, Mediator Kyrik, I will be shocked if he's not getting a buff at this point. Why? It is the perfect time for him to get a buff. What time? Probably, like, in, like, 5 hours. There is no way they don't buff this guy. Again, I was shocked last time, but if he's not here, or Judge Kise, like, he could not be on here because he's pretty new. But I could see this guy getting a buff because, like, it's his meta. He could be the best AOL counter that we have. He could destroy AOL. And there's several ways you can actually do that. First, the basic one, the basic way they could buff him is make it so when this skill is not on cooldown, he gets like 50 FRS. That's the lame way, right? That's like the lame, like we don't want to make him broken, but still want to give him a roll. Is give him like 50% effectiveness when this skill when this skill is not on cooldown, right? Right. The other one will be make him immune to silence if it was straight thing, but I would like the FRS. I mean, it'd be cool. Honestly, the S3 is already pretty stacked. I don't think they're gonna touch the skill. If they did touch the skill and they added a buff, they could add a buff. I could see them adding like a hit chance buff or something like that. Something crazy. But this skill's already incredibly good. If they give anything, it would just be like a passive skill. That's what I would guess, is they give him a passive skill. If they buff this skill. This skill... Oh man, this skill just needs a whole rework. This skill sucks. Like, this skill actually sucks. First, single target. Second, modifier suck. Third, it's attack break, dude. Who wants attack break? Second, it's a barrier. What I would like to see this skill do is heal or give an extra buff. Because I don't think A bruiser doesn't make sense for him. I want him to stay as support. I like him as a support, realistically. I want him to be a support. And making the skill, like, it'd be cool to do like something like that does lower skill cooldowns by 1 turn would be pretty cool. Lower the cooldown for this skill. This skill should not be a 4-turn. Oh my god, 4-turn cooldown is ridiculous. For such a bad skill. Granted, it does go down to 3. So it's okay. It's an okay cooldown. 3 is fine. 3 is fine. But I would like to see either an extra buff added or a heal to this skill. A heal or an extra buff would be really cool. If it was a heal based on like his health or something like that, that would be really awesome, right? Make him a full-on support so he can actually provide sustain. That's one of the weaknesses he has. He doesn't give sustain. That'd be really cool, right? The last one is the S1. This skill, if we really wanted him to make him good and unique, hear me out. Hear me out. Make this skill AoE CR push. Or give it a heal. The spicy one, I would really want this one to be something that like it was AoE, because I would think that this being AoE would make him so scary, right? That would make him so scary, right? If he got an AoE CR push for this. DJB does something that he doesn't do. They're very different in what they do, right? That'd be really cool. Counter build would be really cool, right? Like I could see that, right? That'd be cool, right? Like a watch, yeah, like a Shuri Terranor Guard S1. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That would be really cool, right? If they gave that to him, if they made this AoE skill, they could not touch anything else on his kit. Give this AoE, and he would be way better than he is now, right? And not like he would be pretty cool, right? He'd be really fun. His S3 is already broken, right? Like this S3 is arguably one of the best S3s in the game, just because of what it does. So I could see that. I could see an AoE S1 would be really cool. The S3 is already fine. The S2 definitely needs a buff. Either make it heal or make it give an extra buff. Something like that. That's my guess. That's my guess. That's what I would like to see on him. And he could be like a bruiser support mage. The both direction I could see is him getting more buffs or him getting healing and sustain. One of the two would be my guess for how they're going to buff him. If they buff him, right? The other one I will be shocked if I don't see on here is Judge Kise. And I know someone told me to check on the Discord that they said that they put a bunch of things that they could see Judge buffs for. And there's a very big amount of things that they could do for Jug's buff. Right? There's a lot of things they could do for Jug's buff. They can't give a warrior healing. They could give a warrior healing. What do you mean? Hey, Robbie has healing. Robbie has healing. Who else has healing on their kits? There's more than one warrior that actually heals, Loki. But this one, I will be shocked if she doesn't get a buff. But here's the thing about Judge Kise. Her kit is so outdated. This kit is... Oh yeah, I did mean AoE, by the way. I still think it'd be cool to AoE heal. But this kit is so outdated, dude. Like, it's such an outdated kit. She needs a whole rework, dude. For her to be relevant... She needs a whole kit rework. There's nothing there's no buff that you can give her without massively changing how she functions as a unit. Why is she so bad right now? First, this skill relies on souls. If you're relying on souls, instantly banned now because of Belian, right? Instantly not a good skill. Second part, also because you're relying on a mage, right? So she's relying on a mage. She needs a massive buff. So this already. The second part, imagine using an AoE attack that all it does is dispel one buff. Think about that. Only one buff dispel? What is this trash, bro? We got Rand, bro. Rand comes in, strips 2. Why is she stripping 1? That's trash. That's trash. Strip 1, that's trash. Also, oh, you want to get counterattacked? Boom, you get counterattacked by like half the game. Oh yeah, not even 100% dispel. Not 100% dispel. Does damage and have fun procking Violet. Have fun procking Rem. Have fun procking every single unit in this planet. Right? So the first thing that this has to happen is A, take off the soul reliance, right? B, make it not be able to be counterattacked, right? It's actually just tragic. Like, there's so much, like, that's what I'm saying. You need a whole ass kit rework to make this skill. Like, this has to be an uncounterable skill. It has to be more reliable. Why the hell is it only 75%? That's trash. Why is it only one buff, right? That's just terrible. That's so bad. Like, the more I look at the skill, you need a whole rework for the skill. First, not counterattack. 2, you can keep the Soul Reliance, but make it broken, right? If you keep the Soul Reliance, make this skill, like, I don't know, strip 2 buffs, 100%, and, like, give team 1 attack buff, and CR push by 20. Like, that's the level that this kit needs to be match up to units that are already in the game. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but to be paired up to things that are already in the game, and the patch release is in like 10 hours. But for this to pair up, it needs to be that level. Like, not proc counterattacks, give attack buff, strip 2 debuffs, and push up. Like, it needs all that stuff for it to be decent. That's crazy. Right? That's crazy. That's the level that units are right now. Right? So boom. Already, that's S2 is so trash. That S2 is trash. Okay, then there's the S3. This skill has a lot of potential to me. Right? This skill, I want her to be a control unit. I think I'd rather her be a control unit rather than a cleave unit, because she already has subpar base attack, right? Like, if we look at her attack is actually trash. Like, her base attack is actually just tragic, right? Like, this is garbage. For a damage dealer, this is garbage. For a unit that's just supposed to be raw damage, this is garbage. But the defense is kind of nice, and so is the health, right? And she has effectiveness, right? I honestly think she could be a controlled damage dealer. Like, think something like Briarwitch Iceria. I kind of want it to be something more like that. So this S3, I think, has a lot of potential. But again, it's not enough, right? This doesn't strip on its own. Without this skill is useless as an opener skill, right? So, and it's not 100%. And all it's doing is damage and potentially resetting cooldowns. So she's still relying on her souls, right? And this, yes, it can be crushing if it actually lands. But it's unreliable, and it doesn't do anything outside of that. Oh, and her base speed is amazing. Yeah, her base speed is crazy. I think what I want from her, right? This is my pipe dream. And I know Smilegate not going to do this, but my pipe dream for her would be make this skill not trigger a counterattack, right? I want the skill to not trigger a counterattack, to strip 2 buffs. That's the first part. And not rely on soul burn. And I want this skill to give stealth. And then trigger what she can do, right? Or give her a barrier and stealth, right? Kind of like Kise, right? Give her something like Kise, where it gives stealth and barrier. And then keep it the rest the same. And then make the soul burn maybe ignore FRS, right? That could be the soul burn, if you really wanted it, right? Instead of the S2. So now we have a unit that can open turn 1, that can strip the opponent and reset cooldowns, which is very crushing. But then she'd be broken for cleave. That's the only problem, why they're not going to do that. And then the S1 is a regular decrease defense. This skill's trash. Honestly, bro, give her everything, bro. She deserves it. She deserves it. But no, it's just like, the thing about it is, if you take off the soul reliance, she becomes a broken cleave unit, right? She becomes like a stupid strong cleave unit. Like if they take off the soul reliance on this skill, she becomes like one of the most broken units in the game. Like, absolutely broken. But it's just like, I don't know, dude. I honestly think the reason that Smilegate hasn't actually buffed this unit is because they have no freaking clue how to, like, buff her without breaking her, right? But you need like a whole kit rework. Like, her whole kit's just bad. It's just outdated. There's S1s that have higher decreased defense chance. Honestly, this is like pretty standard for a damage dealer, right? That's so lame. That's nothing. But that's nothing. No extra damage, no nothing. This S2, trash. Only strips 1 buff. Needs souls to give you an extra attack. And does nothing aside from the strip. And can trigger a ton of counter attacks. This S3, it resets skill cooldown. Yeah, that's really strong, right? I'm not gonna lie, this skill is really strong. And I really think this is where her uniqueness comes from. Which is why I want them to double down on this skill. And make this skill more unique. And make her an opener, right? Which requires, for them to make her an opener, it requires them to give her survivability. It requires them to give her, it requires to give Smilegate to give her survivability. It requires to give her better strips. And it requires them to give her less reliance on other units, right? Yeah, you know it's outdated when it's short. It's just so outdated. But I think the most unique part about her kit is this. There's no other unit in this kit that does this. Yeah, it would require to change from a cleaver in general. Yeah, that's the only problem. But I think this is what makes her unique. Like, the reason you would ever pick Judge Kise is because of this skill. Right? That's the one niche she has. Because this skill, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is a very good skill. This is a very, 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 very good skill. Like, it's an absolutely bonkers skill. But she doesn't have like the strip is just outdated. Like, the most likely thing they're gonna do, which I know this is what Smileg's gonna do, and I think it's gonna be so dumb. They're gonna give this skill that doesn't trigger a counterattack, and they might give her the extra strip, and that's it. And maybe more damage. That's all they're gonna do. The seed increase work on passes like AOL, it does not. So yes, she loses to AOL. But I don't think they're going to take off the reliance on Oxlots. I don't think they're going to take off the reliance on mages. I don't think they're going to play with her being an opener. I think they're going to be very cookie cutter and just make her like not good, right? Which is why I think they're very much struggling with it, because I think her identity used to be a cleaver, right? That's what she used to be. She used to be the premier cleave unit. If you had her as a cleave unit, you were like chilling. You were legend. You were actually legend, right? But nowadays, there's just better damage dealers. Oxlot sucks now. Like, unironically, Oxlot is actually kind of trash. Which is falling really, really low. But it's just, man, there's just so much stuff that they would need to do to make this kit good. The kit's super outdated. The unit's super outdated. And I think her uniqueness comes as an opener, not as a cleave unit. Cleaver second, yeah. Her cleave identity should remain. But her primary purpose should be as an opener. That's my theory. I think the S3 is really unique, though. I think this S3 has so much potential as a unit. So, because the Soulburn S2 is extra terror, people use it. That's true. Okay, not gonna lie, healer, that'd be really cool. Give her the RB passive. Hell yeah, I'd give her the RB passive. If her S2, the thing about it is, even if the S2 didn't trigger passives, like, again, I will show you the base stats. Her base stats are actually abysmal. She's actually abysmal base stats. Her base stats scream control. Like, her base stats actually are screaming control. They're screaming like Briar Witch, right? They're screaming, please give me effectiveness and damage so that I can do 2 jobs at once. That's what this kid is screaming. But, like, look at that. Effectiveness, crit rate, like, she's all over the place, right? Yeah, Mui's a full-ass control unit. I always use him when I climb to Legend Champion 1. I mean, yeah. I think Oz is pretty viable in situations, especially in arena defense. Pole Fry Rise, I will say Oxlots works up until you hit Champion, where Polides and Belian are literally everywhere. Or Belian, an AOL. The second you get, like, too high up, and you're seeing all, like, AOL, Belian, and Oxlot's not doing jack. Oxlot's still good for Guild Wars, though. Oxlot's, yeah. You can get to Champion. You can get to I don't know about Legend anymore. Legend with Belian? Oh, man, you cannot get to Legend anymore if you don't have a way to deal with Belian. But her speed is great. Her effectiveness is great. She has decent defensive stats. They're not complete doodle water. They're there, right? The attack is, like, abysmal. She's not an attack unit. Doesn't deal as much damage on first Elisa. She was made as an opener. Yeah, she was made with the intention to be an opener. They buffed the damage, and she became a cleave unit. And that's what she's been known for. But I just want them to buff her to be what she was meant to be. A control opener. That's what she was meant to be. I want Smage to actually make her a good control opener. Not F10 level, not AOL level, but like theoretically, a good Judge Kise should be able to deal with AOL. That's what I think. A Judge Kise should be able to reset an AOL. Right? So you're countering their openers, right? That's right? But again, she could be very broken as well. Like, depending what they buff, she could be either extremely broken, be super boring, or just not get a buff, right? So there's a lot of paths, and none of the paths are really great. There's like 1 out of 4 paths that is good. The one path is they just exceed expectations and create something crazy. Path 2 is they just absolutely break her and she becomes a unit everyone hates because she's so broken. Path 3 is they don't do anything, and path 4 is she stays mediocre and ununique, right? So there's a lot of paths that can go. They're not great. They're just not great. So it's upsetting, but like that's the 2 units. So we spent a lot of time just on those 2 units, but that's my guess for the 2 units that they could actually buff. They have not said it. It's my guess. My guess, Alpaca's Ravi is up there, Walter. I wouldn't say she's like a must pull unit, but she's up there for Bruiser. If you're a Bruiser player, Apocalypse Ravi is like a very, very good unit. I would say wait until the next rotation. Both Belian and A Ravi are about the same level of use and strength right now. Pavel or Ran, I think Ran has more potential than Pavel right now, as far as meta goes. But yeah, that's the MLs I think we'll get, like, as far as 5 stars. Other ones, I could see people buffing, right? These are units that I wouldn't be too surprised if they got a buff. Judge and Mediator Kyrik are the ones that need buffs. Now, as far as the ones that are like, okay, the MLs that could use buffs, people say Dark Corvus, but I think that's crazy because he already has a role, right? People are saying, like, make it so you can't destroy his health, which I think is really funny, and it would kind of make him kind of crazy, right? He could be pretty annoying. That'd be weird. I don't know if I like that, but people have said that Dark Corvus needs a buff. I think he's okay. Asana a little bit is one that a lot of people say. I could see her getting a buff just because of the fact that she doesn't always do her job as a control. Right? That's the big thing. That's the big thing right now. Give that. Oh my god, y'all are wilding. But for the Asana a little bit, I could see one. I don't think she particularly needs one. She's just a very high skill cap unit, and she also does. It's very hard to use her as well. I could see her make her easier to use. If she got Seal to help control AOL counter, that'd be cool. But Seal, the thing about it is if Judge Kise got Seal and a reliable strip, she could actually be broken. Because the thing about it is, y'all have to realize with Judge Kise, 3-turn resetting their cooldowns is brutal. It's absolutely brutal, right? So I could see her getting one. As far as light units, we already talked about Jugs. Oh wait, we're just in the night. I should go to the everything dark, all the dark units. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine. Martial Artist is doomed to suffer. He just recently got a buff. He's not gonna get another one for a long time. So I don't think they'll be there. All right. All right. Hot take time. Hot take time. Hot take time. Before y'all roast me, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I think that Smilegate always likes to throw curveballs, right? They always like to throw units that are like low-key, like already good, but people are just not using. I think Smilegate is going to buff Remnant Violet. Y'all heard me. Y'all heard it here first. I think Smilegate, this is gonna be like when they buffed Athletica, when they buffed Operator Sigrid, where like the unit was just slightly underperforming, and they're like, buff. Buff. I think that's my theory. That's my theory. Because Smilegate always throws that like random like buff, right? It is possible. It is possible. Like my thing, like y'all think I'm joking, but it is possible. They buffed Operator Sigrid. They buffed Briarwitch when we didn't think she was bad. They buffed Athletica. Athletica was so good. Athletica was amazing, and they buffed Athletica, right? Like, I'm just saying. This is my hot take. This is my Smilegate is tripping hot take. I don't want it. I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm just saying I could see it happening. All right, I could see it happening. I don't think like there's this like it most likely won't, but it's like I don't think it's out of the question. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want more units like Violet. I'm not trying to say I want more units like Violet. I'm just trying to say a lot of people have been complaining about Violet, and Smilegate loves to read their stove comments, and everyone doesn't hate on Violet, right? They always are hitting on like there's a lot of people hating on Violet right now. There are people actually asking for Violet buffs or that. I'm just letting y'all know there is the chance that it's happening because a lot of people are saying he's bad. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a chance. There's a chance. I'm not gonna say how because I think he's a fine. I think he's great. I think he's fine. I think he doesn't need a buff, right? He absolutely doesn't need a buff. But I could see them give him like a counterattack mechanic. I'm just letting y'all know. But I don't think it's gonna happen. But it is. That's my hot take of the night. But that's all I'm letting y'all know. I'm not saying I would not put it past Smilegate to actually buff him. Right? I'm not gonna say how they're gonna buff him because it's a very unlikely scenario. But if they just touch him, Riley would actually become busted, which I really hope they won't buff. But there we go. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say it's impossible. The patch notes, it's gonna be a patch notes. They're not gonna actually do it until 2 weeks later. I'm just dropping it there. It might happen. It might happen. It might happen. I'm not saying it will, but I would not put it past them, right? So that's my hot take for the night, is the Ryler one, right? That's my hot take one. That's my hot take for the night. I think Smoggy will buff Rylet. I don't think he needs one. I don't want one, but I think he might get one. That's what I'm saying. Patch notes are tomorrow. Yeah, patch notes are tomorrow. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, you know? That's fine. That's my guess. That's my guess. They buffed crazier units in the past. They buffed Operator Cigarette. Did anyone see Operator Cigarette? No. That's what I'm saying. Smoggy always likes to throw in a random unit that doesn't need a buff just because they want to spice things up. And this would be like their tone deaf way of saying, oh yeah, we love the meta right now. We love the RNG. But okay, that's besides the point. That's my hot take of the night. I don't want to spend too much time on this because he's definitely he's most likely not going to get one. But that's my hot take for the night. Let me go for the other MLs and then I'll go to the other ones. But as far as other units, to stand a little bit, I already talked about. Meru, I don't think a buff now, but she would be a contender for the future. She's a little slow right now. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of situations. They always buff random units. But Meru, I don't think she needs one now. I would say not this patch, but in the future. Right now, she's a little too slow. She's fine, okay. She's okay right now. She's fine, right? She's in a good spot. She's balanced, right? She's balanced and can high roll. But right now, she's a little too slow. And there's other units that outpace her with countering. Oh, no, I agree. I use a speed Rylet, and Rylet does dummy damage, but there's a lot of people that think he's bad because Violet is just that oppressive. She's a dangerous buff as well, right? So this is a unit that's if they buff, the other reason why you don't see Amaro a lot, it's because most people took her gear and put it on someone else, right? She's balanced right now. She's a really hard skill cap unit. Also, everyone hates Amaro users. That's a fact. I'm sorry to say, but if you use Meru, people probably hate you. Not saying like you're a bad person, but like most people will think that you're a bad person if you play Meru because she feels so toxic. You're literally, when you pick Meru, you're telling your opponent, hey, we're gonna go to Frenzy 5 minimum, and we're gonna have a fun time. So people will not like you if you play Meru. She's a good unit. I think she's fine. So I don't think she needs one. As far as the lights are actually pretty okay. We already talked about Jugs. Sage Ball, I mean, he feels his niche. Spess has gotten 2 buffs already. He's not getting another one. He's already gotten 2 buffs, all. He could use one, but he's not gonna get another one. Italian's fine. Faithless Litica, not quite buff level, but getting there. Like, I could see her in a patch or 2 getting a buff. She's just not the same that she used to be. People are still are working on, but it's possible. I could see it. Silver Adamantia, same thing. Where like I could see it. She's okay right now, but she's starting to get power crept, right? She's starting to get power crept really hard. McCoy does not need a buff. DJP recently got a buff. I doubt they'll buffing again. He has potential. I think when people max out their Guild Wars artifact, I think we're gonna see a lot more Desidru Basar. For sure. Because he can't actually counter Langy, right? I could see with the Guild Wars artifact becoming more popular, he could be a really good counter pick, right? That's the big thing. Last Cross fine. Solitaria needs one change. I don't think they'll buff her because she's like in an okay spot. But one change and this unit instantly goes from being a B tier, C tier unit, like a B or C unit, to an A plus unit. If they make this S1 not trigger a counterattack, this unit instantly becomes top tier. Just let that sink in. If they make this S1 not trigger a counterattack, Solitaria becomes like an insane unit. Like she would actually become a premier unit if this unit did not trigger counterattacks. That's how bad we're in need of no trigger attack of units, right? We need it. Like the thing about it, Solitaria buff would actually make sense, right? This is one that I could actually see them doing as well because we actually need her to be stronger, right? We actually need Solitaria to be stronger because she counters Violet extremely well. She can counter Rem extremely well with this S3. If you lock a Rem down, Rem does nothing for some time, right? This could be really good, right? We are in bad need of Violet counters though. And she is a Violet potential counter. The only reason she loses to Violet is because of the forced AoE making Violet counterattack on her and killing her, right? So Solitaria getting a buff and getting it so this skill does not trigger a counterattack would be like the only buff she needs. If she gets that, she goes from being a B or C tier unit to instantly A plus tier. Insanely. She doesn't need anything else. That's legit all she needs. This skill not trigger counterattack instantly becomes top tier. Instantly. Like overnight. Because like it's a pretty annoying skill, right? It's a really good control skill. And the S3 being able to lock down a Ram to take away the immunity is also really good. And it's on a really low cooldown too. And she gets stealth, right? She would be a very, 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 very well, like very, very good unit. She's like already kind of sleeper. No one pulled for her. That's why you never see her. No one pulled for her. Like unironically. And the people that did don't like her. But not triggering a counterattack on this S1 would actually be game changing. It would instantly make her like a top tier. So that'd be really cool. That would be really cool. I would like that. That would instantly make Violet disappear from half the content in this game. If that skill did that, and then if they really wanted to make it a strong Violet counter and a Riley counter and like an evasion counter, make this skill guaranteed hit on, or like have a higher hit chance, right? And then she's one of the best Violet SSB counters in the game. So if they made this skill not trigger counterattack, they make this skill not miss on Violet, GG. Oh, broken unit. Like OP. That's how you make it broken. I could see her because she doesn't see any play. But I do know legend players actually do use her. She's like, you'd be surprised, legend players actually do use her. Legend players actually use Solitario of the Snow, and she's actually really solid. She's a sleeper unit right now. She's actually not a bad unit right now. But being able to actually just not trigger counterattack, the counterattacking is what actually kills her. Because right now there's so many counter units that if you're hitting AoE every turn, you're proccing like a million counterattacks, you're killing yourself while doing no damage. Right? That's the problem with Solitaria. But she has really good potential to be really, really good. So that's the units as far as ML 5 stars go. Most likely. So like let me do a notepad because you guys know I like my notepads. So most likely. Jugs and Mediator Kyrik. And then we'll keep adding to the list. Let me split it because we'll keep adding it to the list. Then we'll put likely is Solitaria. I could see ML Aura because she's getting kind of power crept. And I think that was it. Oh, and DJB. Oh no, DJB already got a buff. I see not gonna get another one. And Dilibit, that's the one that I could see. These are likely, right? For at least for the 5 stars. And then my hot take. Yeah, we'll put Riolet. That's my hot take. Emerald Charles does not need a buff. Please do not buff Emerald Charles. Please do not buff Emerald Charles. Emerald Charles would actually become busted. I could see a Karen buff. We'll talk about the other ones in a sec. Patch note comes out in about like 5 hours-ish. That's my hot take. That's my hot take. I think my hot take is that Riolet will get a buff because Smilegate is tone deaf. And they think that RNG meta is a good meta. And then I'll have something to rant about tomorrow. But no, Closer Charles does not need a buff, dude. Like, Closer Charles is actually a menace in Legend. This unit is a menace in Legend. Like, this man is actually a really good freaking unit. But yeah, Smilegate's super tone deaf. Elmo Charles is really good. He's a high tier unit. Like, he's actually low-key, like, really freaking good. Right? Really, really, really freaking good. Really, really freaking good. My hot dude, if they buff Closer Charles, the game's actually dead. Like, Cleave is actually broken if they actually buff him. AO needs a buff. AO does not need a buff, bro. Holy. Alright, let's go to the 4 stars because there's a lot. Okay. 4 stars, half the cast, put it on the list, call it a day. They could do a lot, but usually buffs are meant to target certain things in the meta more than and sometimes to bring old units back, right? So as far as buffs that I could see, so many of these units need a buff. Please buff Great. Please buff her, dude. Please buff her, bro. Please. You know, she sucks for Katie's. Someone told me she was good for Katie's. She's okay. But no one uses her for Katie's. They just use SSB. So like she doesn't even have a niche. This unit doesn't do anything. She's useless. Please make her viable for something. Like, the thing about it, it's like for Katie's, she can be good, but you don't need her. She's not even like optimal. Like, if you ever look up an optimal Katie's Hunt team, they're not using her. Like, they actually don't even use her for Katie's, bro. She has nowhere. She's actually just a beautiful unit, beautiful design. I ask for this every single patch notes. It's my pipe dream. Please buff her. And yeah, I realized it looks like she's missing an arm. Wait. Is she missing an arm? No, it's on her back. Oh, it's the fires here. Her arm's over here. Her arm's over here. You can see the arm in the silk right here. That's just fire. It looks like her, okay, yeah, it looks like she's amputated. I thought that too for a second. I can kind of see it. But please just make her viable, dude. Like, I don't even care if she's a PvE only unit, but make her broken for PvE. I don't know what you could do for that, but just make her busted. Make her like something ridiculous. You know, like make this like, I don't know. Just give her dummy damage. Just give her like stupid damage and like make this decrease defense. Yeah. Get this decreased defense. Yeah. Like a 1 or 2 turn decreased defense. Yeah. Yeah, then she'll actually be useful for other things. Like for Dark Expedition, you know? Like make me be able to use her. Right? Because this skill's not bad. But oh yeah, make this. Ooh, wait. What if they made this so every time the unit counterattacked, you got like a massive CR push and you counterattack on that unit? Ooh. Add counterattacks to this and make it so she counterattacks on the counterattack. And then make it the S1 strip. Ooh, that's too much. I know that's too much. They're not gonna do that. I don't know, but that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I don't know. I don't think there's a way to make your kit PvP viable. I don't think there's a PvP viable way to actually make her PvP viable unless you like break her kit. Which like you could do that with any unit, but yeah. Unless they break her kit, she does not have the base to be a PvP viable unit. It'd be cool, but PvE oriented would be nice as well, right? But if she's gonna be PvE oriented, make her have like decreased defense or decreased speed on this as well, right? Like maybe make it so like she decreases speed of the enemy or something, or give attack buff. This giving attack buff would be really nice as well for PvE, for a lot of hunts actually. If this skill like gave attack buff, she would be really good for expeditions. She'd be really good for like just having fun, honestly. So I would really want to see a buff for her. A lot of these units, if you're wondering why I skipped, like for example, Celestial Mercedes, Bloodblade Karen, Shooting Star Arcades. If you're wondering why I skipped those units, it's not because I don't think they need a buff. It's because I think they need an EE. Unironically, Shadow Rose has gotten too many buffs. She's still trash, which is really unfortunate. She was my second 6-star, by the way. She's the second unit at 6-star, and one of my few units that actually have a ton of Mola on. But she's trash. She used to be really good in the game, though. But they decided to go a really weird direction, like giving her increased effectiveness, and her EE is just right. I don't want to talk about her because she makes me sad. Her potential was huge, and they just butchered it. They actually butchered her Shadow Rose. She's actually, like, not great. She's very niche, but she could use a buff, but they already buffed her like 2 times, and it did nothing. This is EE, this is EE, she's EE. Like, a lot of these are, like, all EE focused, right? That's why I don't talk about buffs. That's a big reason why. Secret Set I think is in a good spot. I think he's okay. But yeah, that's like I think an EE would. Shooting Star Arcades has the potential to be really annoying with an EE. Celestial Mercedes has the potential to be really good in cleave with EE. She's a non-soul. She's a soulless reliant unit, by the way. Fun fact. She's a soulless cleaver. In case you were curious. So definitely pretty good. Chrysamon Rin in a weird spot. She used to be really good, like a season ago. But the problem is, you guys know what they did to Light Angelica? That absolutely cucked Emelrin? Emelrin would be a really good counter to Light Angelica. But you know what they gave Light Angelica for no reason? Immune to stun. Smoggy. Balancing. So that part kind of does suck. I don't know how you... She used to be really good as a speed contester, but for all intents and purposes, it's like, why pick her when you can just pick like Acid at this point? Acid just does better than her. She doesn't really have an identity anymore. Aside from just Mach 5 immunity speed and potential stun disruptor. So it would be, I mean, she doesn't have an extra turn without Soulburn. That's the thing. She already gets an extra turn as long as she strips. Like, her kit is good. It's just like 15% sucks. That's literally all it is. 15% Afres sucks, which makes her suck by comparison. Also because Langy doesn't care if you stun her. So she lost the role. As a speed contester, because just Ace Sid just completely dominates it role now. But as far as the dark ones, that's pretty much the ones I think need one. The other ones, a lot of them are EEs. Wonder Silk is like so copium. I don't even know how you buff her to make her relevant. Make her another speed contester, I guess. She already has an EE that gives her speed. She's already really fast because of the EE. Really high effectiveness. It's a solid speed contester, but like that's it. And she just dies. You need like to get stealth or something. Or like a barrier to actually use the stealth artifact. Nah, Crimson Armor does not need a buff. Cap. She does not need a buff. She does not need a buff. So Guy the Aether, I could see him be using a buff. He already has an EE. I just don't know how you would buff him. I've never even seen this kit. I know he's okay for PvE. I don't even know where you would start buffing him. Vanilla Roman needs a buff or an EE because he just gets completely outclassed by Langy. I could see him getting an EE, but not a buff. Guy the Aether definitely needs a buff. Watcher Shuri, no. Blingo, no. Fighter Might is okay. General Purgus is fine. Roman needs a one. TM% is actually on the come up. Fun fact. Buff him a little bit. We talked about the Phisas a little bit earlier. T-Cern is actually on the rise. She's actually doing good right now. Like, she's actually in a healthy state. Unironically. She's in a very healthy state where an EE could make her meta again. But she's not absolute dog water, but she's not absolutely broken. She's actually in a really good spot. Like, she's actually in a really good spot. Tiara, it's a completely free-to-play unit, which is why, I mean, if they buffed it, it'd be nice, but she doesn't need one. Like, she does her job for early game players. That's it. She was there for early game players. T-Cern was dying, Ethan. T-Cern was dying. T-Cern was dying, and it's not just you, healer. I've seen more and more T-Cerns popping up. More and more. Like, T-Cern's starting to pop up again. Mainly because teams are getting squishier. And the units in Cleave teams that used to counter her don't counter her. New Cleave doesn't do that good anymore. Right? Like, New Cleave does not do good into T-Cern. Right? Y'all realize that. New Cleave does not do that good into new T-Cern. Or into current T-Cern. So it's just a fact that the meta is changing again. Where we're getting to a situation where, like, she's really good as an anti-Cleave unit. Which is really nice. Right? And I've seen some other ones, but mostly just as an anti-Cleave option. Or as an anti-aggro option. Which is a balanced state. Every unit doesn't need to be completely broken. Right? So right now, she's in a balanced state. I think she's in a good spot. She does a really good role well, and she hard loses to like counter units. But people are starting to use T-Cern again. They're starting to dust her off a little bit. They're putting gear on her for anti-cleaving purposes. And for anti-aggro purposes. Because you can blow up a lot of units with her. But Belian does hurt T-Cern a lot. The other unit that also hurts. But the Belian matchup is not terrible. Because Belian destroys your HP, so your threshold actually goes down. So she doesn't actually kill you, which is kind of weird. Really weird interaction. But all in all, counter units still kill her. So she still has her clear weaknesses, but has some strength. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Right? As far as the 4-stars MLs, a lot of them are just EE base. They're just like kind of... Oh, man. That's... Okay, yeah, Soulburn S1... No, Soulburn S1 doesn't kill. Healer. It doesn't kill! Bro, it actually doesn't kill. It actually doesn't kill. You realize because Tempest Surin, if they do the 51%, it will make it so when the follow-up happens, yeah, you get kicked out of stealth. That part does happen. But it won't actually kill you. You get destroyed HP unless you have a dummy. Like, they will destroy. Oh, assuming it's injury. I forgot not all Bellions are injury. My bad. Injury Bellion. Regular Bellion screws her over. My bad. I forgot. I was talking about injury. That's my bad. I was talking about injury Bellion. Not regular Belian. I was talking about injury. That's my bad. I probably should have prefaced that. Injury Belian loses to T-Cern. I forget that Belian doesn't actually have injury. For some reason, I thought she did. Tomoka does kill her. Tomoka kills her. Belian can kill her. Violet kills her. Rem kills her. Hey, Ravi, good matchup. A-Ravi's a good matchup. I will say that. I will say that. A-Ravi's a good match. T-Cern versus A-Ravi, T-Cern actually wins that matchup. Unless you get Luxact by the A-Ravi. Or the A-Ravi outscales your team. But A-Ravi can easily kill a Tempa. Tempa-Cern can kill A-Ravi. But, yeah. I think T-Cern's in a healthy state. Just because you can do really good into aggro teams. That's it. That's the only reason. That's fine. As far as 5 stars, honestly, y'all, I don't want to go through every single one because there's so many. Like, if I actually, like, go through every single one that needs a buff, we're gonna be here forever. Like, they could pick almost, like, 50% of the cast, and they could use a buff. Cecilia could use a buff. They're okay. Yufin could use a buff. Big buffs, too. She's, like, doesn't have a place. They're fine. Could use a buff. He sucks. No one uses him anywhere. Right? For a counter unit, he sucks. He's not Rem. Right? Rem gets counterattack for free. He needs an artifact to do it. She's okay. Buff. Needs buff. Could use a buff. He has a niche, but he could use a buff. Could use a buff. She lost her role. There's so many better speed contesters in the game right now. Could use an EE, not a buff. Garbage unit needs a buff. Has a niche, so she's fine. Could use a buff. Could use a buff. Could use a buff. Although she still has her PvE niche, which is nice. That's why I say she could use. Let's see. Aside from Wyvern, low-key Wyvern, Sigrid sucks. Have y'all realized that, like, Sigrid, outside of Wyvern, Sigrid does nothing. Like, actually, outside of Wyvern, Sigrid does nothing. She's actually, like, she's just there. That's so sad. Sigrid, okay. 100% honest. When was the last time you used Sigrid to kill an Arbiter Villager? I know she extincts. But, like, no one uses her for that. You can use her outside of that. But, like, there's so many better extinct ways to deal with Arby. It's a very early game Arby. I will say that. I will say that. She's a very good early game answer to Arbiter Villager. That is fine. I will agree with that, Skylar. In an early to mid game situation, Sigrid extinction does come in clutch. That's fine. In an early situation. In an early game. But the only problem with Sigrid... Oh, okay. Now y'all are making me think. What if... Hear me out. Hear me out. What if... next stream, we try Bruiser Sigrid. We build her like Luna. Right? And we make her counter Bruiser. Yeah? And pair her up with like a... Or we make her a speed unit. And we pair her with a control team. Ooh. Okay. We're gonna use a control cleave with Sigrid. We're big braining it here. What if we did a cleave? But like we made her like 230 speed. And she goes with like Samurai Seria. And she just kills because she penetrates units that are have debuffs. Yeah. It's a control cleave with like speed Sigrid. Sigrid counters made. Ooh. Sigrid with a Luna build? Okay, just pop S3. Okay, now we're talking. Maybe I'm not giving her enough credit. Maybe Sigrid's low-key broken. See, Sarah, Emma, Mercedes is basically the second turn you Elmero, so you get bombs too. Yeah, that could work, except you don't have a strip. But I like it. I think it's actually possible. If I actually had speed gear, I would actually use it. Kyrik already just got a buff recently. Could use another. Dude, it's just like, why couldn't they just make him like Kise? They could have just been Fire Kise, but they just didn't want to give him a barrier. If this skill gave a barrier and he was Fire Kise, oh man, we'd be in a good shape. Oh, I didn't see the Lilla. Is here Emma Mercedes base? I mean, yeah. I think Emma Mercedes has potential as a cleaver. Like with an EE, she's actually really good. But yeah. Kyrik could use one technically. Broken should get a nerf, but it's not gonna get nerfed because Smoggy doesn't nerf units. This unit should get a nerf, by the way. Like, absolutely. But then we need actual Earth heroes, because without him, without Violet, Rem instantly becomes one of the best units in the game. Usually, I think Doc's bag is better for Elena overall. But Sermia's good. She's in a good spot. Pavel Pavel got screwed by Belian, but he's still really strong. He's the reason Belian exists, by the way. But this Pavel guy is the reason Belian exists. If Pavel never existed, Belian would have never existed. Cerise is still okay. She doesn't need a buff. She's still pretty good in certain situations. She's still a premier unit in Guild Wars. Dude, this unit's broken in Guild Wars defense. She does not need a buff. She's way too good in Guild Wars defense. A buff would actually make her just so annoying. Luca is actually really good in PvE. She doesn't need one. She's actually in a good situation. Any thoughts on any RGB 3-stars, a new candidate for a buff, so we could have another carrot? Wind Waker, we talked about Pillis earlier on. She's very likely to get like a Ross treatment. But yeah, Elena's bag, definitely. Elena with Doctor's bag, definitely good. Needs a buff, needs a buff. Vivian, to be PvP viable, she could use a buff. But she's in a good spot. Lilius? Okay, this is a hot take one, but I think Lilius is EE. But I think Lilius with an EE would be really good. I don't think she needs a buff, but I think Lilius EE would actually like be really good. I think Lilius could actually be a really good unit in the current meta. She actually has a favorable matchup into Violet because she can provoke Violet for 2 turns, which cuts a lot of the damage Violet can do. A lot, right? So, and the S1's always been so freaking good, right? Like that's just always been amazing. I don't know what you would buff though. Like maybe make her more supportive. Another thing that could do is if they added CR pushing on this skill. Like if they added this, like they do CR gain. Like if this gave her CR gain, she could be really good. Like with an EE, right? That could be really good. Like make it so she can self CR push faster, or make this skill like give her defense buff. She's in such a weird spot, right? Like the thing about it is she does a lot, but she doesn't do anything at the same time, right? But she's an EE case. I think Lilius is like the thing about it is her kit's so broken. I'm like, I don't see how you could, like, you would have to you have to make her really broken, which is why I think EE. I think EE would make her more balanced. I think she needs a little bit more support for the team to fill the night role better, right? If she can fit that night role better, she would be a really good unit. But right now, she does not fill that night role too well, right? Because she's either doing big damage or she's more of like an aggro bruiser. But she doesn't really provide any support for the team, right? So, yeah. Yeah, she's just in a weird spot. Like, her kit is really good. An EE would fix her, though. An EE would make Lilius great again, right? Because she's in a really weird spot. She just doesn't provide enough buffs for the team. Another thing would be to give defense buff to this S3. Pulling the highest attack could be kind of toxic, though. But yeah, it would actually make her considerably better, too. If this pulled the highest attack, she would be so insane. But the S3, giving a buff would be nice as well. If this gave attack, or they could double down on the niche. If this gave attack buff before she did S3, she would fill the niche of a Bruiser Cleaver. That would also be pretty cool. I think the cool EEs would be make this give more CR, make this give attack buff, and maybe make one of these skills like give a buff to the allies or something like that. That'd be cool. I mean, that's an EE. That's not really a buff. Her kit's fine the way it is. Her kit's fine the way it is as far as like kit goes. I don't think her problem is with her kit. I think it's just an EE thing. And then she could get the EE could either be crit rate or it could be defense because she does lack a lot of defense. Or it could, speed would make her kind of crazy. It could be speed or crit rate or defense. Honestly, anything would be really nice. So it would be really cool if Lilius had attack buff for everyone though, because that would make her really cool. That would make her a really fun unit. Ray honestly could use a buff. He doesn't do anything. Elena's fine. Soul Bad Guy could use a buff. Viking, outside of Banshee 13, doesn't do anything. I would love to see Viking be buffed. Dizzy, still just so freaking good for PvE. But for PvP, it's more of like a pocket pick. This is more like a pocket pick. Lilibet could use a buff. She sucks. She doesn't do her job right. She has no survivability. That's her biggest problem. Lilibet, unironically, if they buff, it could be really cool. If they gave her survivability, she could be a really good unit. Why? She has really good ratios, and she has a very high chance to actually hit Violet with Symbol of Unity. Still have a chance to miss, but you have a very high chance to hit Violet, and if you kill them forever, right? And since she's Earth, she has a favorable matchup into Rem. So she could actually be a very good counter to Arby, to Violet, to Rylet, and to Rem. Like, she would be, if Smaugate wanted to buff according to what the meta is right now, Lilibet is one of the top candidates for a buff, to me. Because if they actually make her so she has a more reliable hit chance, like, the hit chance goes up even more for this skill. And, like, she needs sustain, though. That's the hard part. How do you make her not die? She would need, like, a Proof of Valor passive, or, like, some form of healing. Proof of Valor passive would actually help her out a lot, immensely. If Proof of Valor passive on her kit would make her, like, a lot harder to take out. Or some way to cycle faster. But as a sniper, she'd be really good. Stealth is too much. She's gonna get Skill Nullifier. Skill Nullifier, the only problem is it's really easy to deal with. And she has no sustain. And she's not particularly tanky for a ward. Actually, she's okay bulk. But she needs a lot of attack. And she has no help from the crit rate aspect. As I say, 3-turn immortality. Yeah. She does have skill null, but it's just not enough. SC given invincibility could be enough. That could be a lot better than skill null. This is invincibility would be much better. Landy, yeah. Landy does need more answers. Landy would be another unit you need an answer for. That one I'm going to talk about in a second. I think they should actually buff for that. Yeah, I agree, Paul. I agree with Lilias. I think Lilias is just an EE away from being just like incredible. That's why I think Lilias, it's so weird that she's bad. It just really shows like how power crept Epic 7's become. Again, I know I started talking about this earlier on today, but it just really has shown me how power crept Epic 7 has become. Just because units like Lilias. Dude, Lilias used to be busted. And she's just okay now. Arby's just okay now. SSB is just okay now. Right? That's like so weird to think about. Like, we've gotten to that point where those units, like, I always thought they were going to be like the most broken units. They're not anymore. We've gotten to that point. But yeah. For this, Bloodless is really good into AOL, which is really cool. That part's really, really nice. For Karen, I'm going to talk about in a second. But for a little bit, I think she has potential to be really good. I think it'd be really, really cool. Melissa could use a buff. She's gotten several, but she could still use one. Honestly, they could make her a Premier Violet counter. Make this skill guaranteed hit. And she'd be pretty good. Like, the thing about it, Tough, it's like, to an extent, some units have recently, though. Like, Langy completely power crept, whatchamacallit, Roman. Amelia power crept almost every support in the game. Same with Maid Chloe. Like, why? Like, almost all attack buffers are gonna get compared to Amelia and like to Maid, right? Like, you see way less DN because those two are just so good, right? You also see like Violet just completely shuts out a majority of the water cast. Ram completely power creps any counterattack unit because she just counters better and does more, right? Like, Charles is useless. Ilna was useless, right? And then Ram comes out and she's like everything they could do, but way better, right? So it's borderline cap power creep. It's borderline, like, at this point, like, normally I would agree with you, Tav. Like, it's just not their meta. But it's borderline getting to the point that it's just straight up power creep. And like, even like things like Emo Kyrik, it's like, why, if you have Emo Kyrik, why pick him over Ray, right? There's no point, right? You would definitely pick Emo Kyrik over Ray. Although Ray does give some sustain, not enough, right? And they're usually about the same role. Except, you know, Ray's Earth, that's only different. But Emo Kyrik gives attack buff. But yeah. SB first pick auto wins you. So I don't know. It's weird. But Melissa could be nice if she got better hits. Bomb Mono, I think she's in an okay spot. It'd be cool. She's like a buff away from being like PvP relevant. Because she basically has close to Landy's kit with Stana combined. Because this skill hits 2 targets and has decent scaling. she gets this skill, that she gets a bunch of like effectiveness and damage. And this is like a really nice self-buff attack skill, right? With a pretty low cooldown duration, right? She's like borderline almost there, but her PvE is pretty solid. She's really nice. So like, and she's a free unit, so it's not that much. Alencia, oh man, this unit needs major rework. I also think there's another unit that I could see a buff because like right now she just got her story, and also because she's very relevant in today's meta because she has a favorable matchup usually, or used to. She used to have a very favorable matchup into Landy and into Rem. She could have a favorable matchup. Because the thing about it, it's like, against Landy, if they're guiding light, you can reveal. And you can potentially one-tap. If you're playing against a Rem, you're Earth, you're giving defense buff, which means it's less likely to get hit. You have some F-res on this skill, so you can get unhealable. But the thing about it is Alencia as a bruiser is outdated. She is outdated as a bruiser. Why do I say she's outdated as a bruiser? She has no self-CR pushing. She has no self-sustain. Trash. Instantly. If you're a bruiser and you don't have self-sustain, or if you don't have self-CR push, trash unit. Garbage. Same thing with Ken. Garbage. Trash. Think about all the bruiser units. I'm not lying to you guys when I say that. All bruiser units have one or the other, or have dummy stupid damage, right? Also, yeah, the frenzy changes definitely killed her too. Both the effectiveness one and the health one. So it's like the fact that she's already a very hard to build bruiser because she has no sustain and she has no CR pushing, right? She wants effectiveness to be able to actually strip, right? And to land the decreased defense, but doesn't get much help from her passive. Super unreliable passive, by the way, right? To actually proc, right? It's just not worth it. It's too slow. She's not doing anything. She's slow as far as like she doesn't do that much damage. She has to actually take turn rotations, which is never going to happen. She has to proc Mind's Eye to be able to do her damage. So you can just ignore her and blow her up at the end. And it's just... It just sucks. It just sucks. She's just such a bad spot. No sustain. No self-CR pushing. Super slow. Unreliable. She's just outdated bruiser. In her time, she was one of the best bruisers. Right? That'd be cool. The other thing is also you realize like this gives effectiveness, but Rem literally gets demon mode and gets able to ignore F-res. How is that fair, bro? How is that fair? Like, Rem gets to ignore F-res, and she just gets a super small stat boost if she gets this super weird hard condition. Should I use the pity on Belian even on touch much RTA? She's really good for Arena, and she's okay for Guild Wars. The only other option would be a Robbie. Belian has potential to be good for a very, very long time. And if you ever want to get competitive in RTA, Belian's a really good unit to have. But again, at the end of the day, her and a Robbie right now are about the same spot. But she's pretty good. I think Belian's a really solid unit right now. Between her and a Robbie, it's honestly just preference of playstyle and what you think you're going to enjoy more. Because they both are good almost at the same content. And they're just almost around... They're about the same tier, with Belian having the potential to be a higher tier than a Robbie. But yeah, Alencia, big buffs needed. Big buffs needed. I just don't know... Like, you would have to overload her kit. Like, you have to make her more reliable, give her CR pushing, potentially give her sustain... Like, make her ignore Yar. Just a lot of stuff. Yes, Lord Volgren, Landy is arguably the best DPS for PvP. And she's one of the best DPS for PvE. So, absolutely. Landy is one of the best units in this game. I would immediately 6-star build her. You're going to have so much fun with her. Use her everywhere, basically. As far as Chu. Oh, I do agree with that, Paul Kim, too. I do agree that there's too many strong ones. As far as Chu goes, I think she's okay. Again, could use a buff. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Rowana, dude, oh my god. As far as PvE goes, she's still in a good spot. But as far as PvP goes, Rowana doesn't do much. Except she does okay into Belian now, which is nice. But SSB is not as popular anymore. So Rowana's usage immensely dropped. Right? You don't see her even in an arena anymore. But she's really good for PvE, so she has a niche. So I don't think she needs a buff. She has her role. The question is, should I go here? And I want to know, should I summon Ran? So Ran, if you're a cleaver or an aggressive type player and you want to do, and you play a lot of teams that want to do big damage early on, yes, absolutely you should pull for him. If you're a bruiser player, that's something you should consider if you think you can fit him in your drafts. I personally know I can't fit him into my drafts. with the Landy recommended artifact. For PvE, Bloodstone. For PvP, Guiding Light. That's usually how it goes. Bloodstone is really good for PvE. But yeah, Ron is an okay spot. Celine, she's in an okay spot too. She could use a buff to be more relevant. Against another unit that could be very relevant. Because she could have a really good matchup into Rem, which we do need. She has a very good matchup into Rem. She would be really annoying if she got better because that means that she could get more evasion. But she could also be more relevant with how many non-attack skills there are in the game. So again, another unit that they could buff potentially. She's in a really good spot though. She's in an okay spot. A buff would just make her really good into Rem. More is okay. I think people are not experimenting with him enough. But I think he has potential as a bruiser. And he's a unit that in the future could actually come back up if the meta ever slows down, which it looks like it's never going to happen. Alpha is fine. Senya's fine. Urvala needs a buff. They're fine. Ida could use a buff. Ilna could use a buff. Destina could use a buff. And yeah. Yeah. So like, the reason why I don't want to go over every single unit. Yeah, no, I agree. Blue Mako, I think people are not trying out more because we meme him so hard for so long. But every time I fought this guy, he slaps me. But yeah, you guys literally saw, like, I said like half the cast needed a buff. So like, they could buff any freaking unit. Oh, and then let's not even talk about the 4-stars. We didn't even touch the 4-stars. Let's see. Needs buff. Needs buff. Needs buff. Needs buff. She's good now. Needs buff. Needs buff. He's good. He's good. He's good. Needs buff. She's okay. She has a niche. He has a niche. Has a niche. She's okay. Needs buff. Needs buff. Needs buff. Needs buff. Again, because the buff kind of messed her up. Needs buff. Needs buff. She's okay. Needs buff. Needs buff. Needs buff. Needs buff. Could use a buff. Dude, there's so many trash units. Like, there's so many trash units that could use a buff. So, like, I'm not even going to spend, because we're going to be here for another 2 hours. It's already 1 a.m. So, yeah. Yeah. So, that's my predictions. I can't predict the RGB ones because there's just so many. But I really want... Oh, I forgot Kayron. For some reason, I didn't see Kayron. He could use a buff just to counter Landy better. So, if we needed Landy answers, he could be a really good Landy answer. But everything in this game strips, dude. Everything in this game strips, dude. Everything strips in this game. So, like, Kayron is very hard to draft, but in the right situation, he can be really good. So there's that. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. where I am. I do remember Dark Boss Corvus. Remove PSRT's most picked units. Kondarp, the thing about it is the way that this game is set up. If they ever did a global ban, it would feel extremely scummy for the player that owns a unit. Like, can you imagine if they, like, took away, like, Violet? That would just feel so weird and so wrong on so many levels. Yeah, and it would just make things not fun, right? Like, 2 pre-bans, that's a whole other topic for another day. Like, man, it's so late, I don't want to get into this. This is probably going to be Sunday's video. Just in case y'all are wondering what Sunday's video is likely to be. Sunday's video is likely to be a PvP ramp. But Epic 7 PvP, both RTA and Arena, are in a terrible spot right now. Like, Guild Wars is still okay. But Arena and Wall Arena are just in such a bad spot right now. Like, I could go on and on why this game's not balanced right now. Like, I don't know, Dan, I want to know if in your experiences, you've experienced this as well. But with Emperor and everything, if you're trying to climb up, before in the past, also by the way, oh my god, did I decay again? Dude, I decayed again! Ah! Oh god, oh, that's gonna suck. Oh man, I actually decayed twice. Holy shiz. I went from Emperor to being low champion. Oh my god, dude. They're hammering me with decay. I lost 120 points to decay. Take deep breaths. Deep breaths. Okay. Quick rant for RTA. I don't know why this is there. I don't know why we ever have decay. If you're wondering why I haven't played RTA, A, I've been really busy. the thing about it is I just don't want to play RTA right now because of all the things we've been talking about. Like right now, I just don't have fun in RTA because the thing about it is if you're trying to climb to Emperor, oh yeah, it will definitely be that high. But if you're trying to climb to Emperor, I've tried playing with fun units and you can't have fun anymore. Like I remember I used to be able to pick Aether and potentially still win. If I pick Aether now, I'm getting my face shoved in like 20 meters in my face. It's super sweaty to actually get to Emperor, right? And yes, you lose about 100 points this high up. But it's just, I haven't wanted, like after this loss streak, I was like, why do I want to play RTA? Like, and this was on stream too. Like this was the last time I streamed. This one I got gear gapped, right? Which is going to happen a lot. Like the more you play, you're going to get gear gapped. That's fine, whatever, that happens. This one, oh, Ram high roll. And I didn't. I lost. So I lost because Ram high rolled. Feels bad. He got better high rolls than I did. GG. Let's see. This one. What was this one? Oh, Ram high rolled. Yeah, I remember this one. Ram high rolled. I tried to have fun. Look, I tried to have fun with Emohara. This was my bad because I should have banned the Rem instead of the Landy. That was on me, right? But again, Rem high roll. I should have banned her. I was stupid for not banning her. I know you're going to say, King, you suck. Yes, I suck. This was a huge mistake. I was already tilted from the last game. And then this one, I disconnected. And I disconnect a lot. I don't know why recently I've been disconnecting a lot. I don't know if you guys have experienced this too. But I disconnect and I lose a ton of points. And that happened too here. I disconnected here as well. And I just like... What the fuck? Like everyone's just trying so hard right now. There's so much RNG. We're playing casino gaming. We're playing casino gaming. And it's just like... And even if I'm not casino gaming, then I'm seeing the same fucking units. I'm sorry if I cuss. I don't know if people watch that are not like... That are not allowed to like hear cuss words. But it actually makes me... no, David, this one was not on emulator. This one was on my phone. This one was emulator. So one was phone, one was not emulator. But like... Every single fucking match, bro. It's the exact same BS units. Made Chloe, Charlotte, Crimson Armin, Stene, Landy, AOL. Every single fucking time. And they're cleaving Strasse every single time they're cleaving. Right? And it's just like, oh, look, made Chloe. Aha. Strasse. Haha. Oh, so fun. So diverse. Let's see. Call I didn't get to fight, but I know he plays kind of different. Again, D doesn't have maid. So that's why we actually had a fun match. I actually know Kike. So every time we fight, we have a fun match. But again, the drafts are like, just like, almost exact same freaking units every single freaking time. This team I actually was really happy about. I actually enjoyed playing that one, even though I got gear gap. This one, boom, Rem, FCC, May Chloe, and then Amelia, Landy, pre-ban. No, it's like the same units over and over and over and over. Like Violet Rem. Holy shit! I hate Epic 7 PvP art right now. Yeah, sorry that I'm usually not this like negative. I haven't started it yet, Finn, because I haven't had the chance, but maybe next week I'll have a little bit more time. Oh yeah, it's not decided by the in-game play, it's how people view you. That's true, Than. That is true. Oh yeah, and on top of all that, can you imagine? I have over 500 games, 600 games right now, right? Imagine if I get to 1,000 games, theoretically, right? Let's say I keep playing, and on the last day, I get a shit Rem Violet streak for like 10 games and I go on a massive lose streak. Those 1,000 games did not matter. You realize how toxic that is? An RTA season is 4 months. But the only day that matters is the last day. I could spend hours and hours in RTA trying to get Legend, trying to get Emperor. On the last day, have a bad day, drop out, boom, you're out of Emperor or you're out of Legend, GG bro. Good luck next season. Like, what the... Oh my god, dude, that's so toxic. That's so toxic. And the thing about it is, all of this is like... And like right now, all this stuff, it's just like slot machine gaming. So it's a very good chance I'll just get slot machine gaming. But if y'all are wondering why I haven't played RTA in such a long time, and like all my streams have been trying to be other stuff for Epic 7, it's because I'm really not enjoying Epic 7 RTA right now. Maybe when I build Summer Iceria, we'll have more fun, right? Maybe we'll have a little bit more fun. I'll have fun again when I build Summer Iceria. She's my next project. and Crimson Armin. So I should have some fun with those units. I'll probably enjoy them. Bellion was really fun, which is why I actually climbed to Emperor. Bellion actually made me climb from here all the way up to Emperor. I have to climb back because I clearly dropped like crazy. But maybe after Samurai Seria, I'll start streaming RTA again. I'll start having fun again. We're not doing this Sunday is not an RTA stream, by the way. It's gonna be like a discussion stream with like a bunch of other top players. But it's just not fun right now. It's just very roulette. It's very repetitive. It's just very frustrating. Also, I don't know why people are so sweaty right now, dude. People sweat so hard, dude. I'll watch Masters level players. Like some of my friends that are climbing up from Masters, like they're just chilling. They'll send me the Master drafts, and they're already like so toxic. And no, I think Ciseria's fine. She's actually really good right now. Healer hopefully will come, and then we'll do a healer account review. Hey, maybe that's what we'll do, and then I can avoid RTA stream for another week. So maybe that's what we'll do. So maybe we'll we'll have that on Sunday, and then maybe we'll do healers account review. Got revenge to a bit. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Oh, and then that's just RTA, dude. Let's say you're like, okay, let me take a break from RTA. Cal should be a guest. Cal's really cool. I really like Cal. I'll hit him up for Sunday. I'll see if he's available. It'll just be a chill time. But I'm kind of curious how they feel about the current meta. But it's so sweating in Emperor. So maybe in Champion I'll have more fun. Maybe I should just stop. I just needed a break from RTA, which is why I decayed. While I built fun units to go back and have fun. Because usually I take breaks for RTA, but with Emperor I can't take a break. Like normally I would have quit and I would just have had fun at this point, but because of Emperor I can't quit, right? Because I want to get Emperor. But I also don't want to have to deal with all the BS units that are out there. But then there's Arena. Oh, Arena. Oh, Arena. Where do we begin with you? Could you try on Albastron Artie? I don't have Albastron, and I also don't have Rand yet. I am going to pull for him, and I will test him later on. But I'm excited for Healer. Healer will be fun. Healer account review soon. I should hit him up again for that. Maybe that will be a stream sometime this week as well. We'll see about it. But man, oh man, let's see it. Let's see how my arena looks like right now. AOL. Made. This is a really cool defense, actually. I respect this defense. AOL, Rem Violet. Oh my god. They're everywhere. This defense is actually free. This defense is just Violet. It's free. See some other people. Crimson Armin, Ren. Oh my god, look at all those Rems. Look at AOL. And I guarantee you, the people that don't have AOL, here, it's not because they don't think she's good for defense. The reason why AOL is not in this defense is because they don't have her. So let that sink in. These people don't have AOL, not because they don't think it would be good for their defense. They don't have AOL though because they don't have it. So not great. This looks pretty toxic, right? You can't cleave it, right? So that's how I'm getting cleaved, because people see my defense, they're like, oh my god, I can actually cleave. Holy crap. That's why they're actually cleaving me, because they see my defense, they're like, oh my god, it's a cleavable defense. And then we look at like the top ranking one. And like the top rankings look Belian, Polides. I might actually do this, except I don't have Last Star Crawl. Belian, AOL. No AOL and no Belian. Wow. Mad respect to this guy. This guy must have like a broken offense to actually deal with the made AOL. Made AOL. Let's see how much more AOLs we can find. AOL. Probably doesn't know any AOL. Kind of a cool defense too. AOL. Lion. AOL. Ooh, kind of a spicy defense as well, but we just see Maid, who's actually a really good unit. And the Polides. Lion. AOL. The Lion. AOL. Oh, the Lion. AOL. Dude, they're actually everywhere. Holy crap. Oh yeah, I haven't even counted Rams. Wait, let me count Rams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my god, there's also so many Rams. It's like a combination of the same 10 units. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's an FCC finally got dethroned. I will say, Fallen Cecilia, this will, for the people that have been around for a very long time and have kept up with the channel for a very long time, I actually think Fallen Cecilia is actually a balanced unit now. I actually think FCC is actually an okay unit now. I don't think she's broken anymore. There's so many more other broken units. FCC is just good now. She's just a good unit. FCC is a good unit now. FCC is a good unit. It's really weird for me to say that. It's so weird for me to say that because I used to be the biggest hater of Fallen Cecilia. But I can tell you guys, Fallen Cecilia is a fair and balanced unit. She's a fair unit. She actually has counters. Yeah, she's actually a fair unit. I used to think she was the most broken on this planet. But she's actually, I think she's in a good spot. Finally. She's finally in a good spot. It only took like a year and a half. So, yeah. Thank you for coming to my rant. I still enjoy Epic 7. I think I'm just like on a down phase. Which is going to happen. Also because life has gotten really busy for me. Just like with work and all that stuff. So it's like one of those things that's like, just because I've gotten busier and I'm not enjoying RTA right now. I'm trying to find better units and funner units to actually play. I still enjoy talking about FX7. I still love RTA fighting other people. So I might just do a open for all, free for all counter. We do have a balance update soon in about 5 hours, which I'll be really excited to read when I wake up. Hopefully it'll brighten my mood a little bit. But I mean, I still really enjoy Epic 7. I did tell you guys about like potentially starting another channel and all that stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But I've just been really busy. And then for the Strasser video, I actually have the outline made. I just actually have to make it. As always, I'm always behind on the lore videos. But yeah, it's a cooldown period. It's a break. It's a break. Everyone, if you ask any top player, most top players take breaks, except they usually don't decay like I do. Because it gets to your mental pretty fast. So like, I probably shouldn't have let myself decay because that's gonna be really annoying to climb back up. But everyone deserves a break because it would just suck if you can't take breaks. Pokemon Unite, address the stall arena outliers and decent RTA units. Please Reloga, address the stall arena outliers. What do you mean by stall arena outliers? These are RTA units I have been trying to recently. Watch some buff red ale valid. Please don't say that. What artifact buffs for balance patch? Oh yeah, forget artifact buffs. Play one game now. Oh my god. All right, I'll play one game. Oh wait, let me do this now before my guild gets mad at me. By the way, Guild Wars is dope as hell. I love Guild Wars. I see why people like Guild Wars. Guild Wars are really fun, but I'm not good at them, so it's not. I don't stream them because I'm so bad at Guild Wars. But they are very fun. I very much have been enjoying them recently. Guild Wars is great content. Guild Wars is the best Epic 7 content by far. Epic 7 Guild Wars was the best made. Like, no cap. Guild Wars is the best. Right now. As far as, like, Guild Wars is actually balanced. And, like, there's, like, very good unit diversity. Which is really cool to see. Like, there's unit diversity. There is a variety of options you can take. There's, like, team coordination. Guild Wars is actually the best mode that Epic 7 has right now to date. Absolutely. It's the best content. Oh, that'd be fun too. I might do that, Finn. That'd be cool to do with other people. But yeah, we're really close. So like we're like really close. I just have to make sure that my fortress is updated. That's why I came in here. Make sure that it's not me that's missing an artifact. Wait, who's missing an artifact? Oh, Cerise is missing gear. Okay, Cerise is missing gear. Let me go and fix it real quick. GVT will be better for PvP RTA arena. I think it would be really cool to see some RTA. I don't know why I'm just straight up banning units. I could do a triple ban. Triple ban is actually pretty fun. You can ban a lot of really toxic stuff. It is pretty fun. Usually I do it with the guildies though, and we have a good time. And they help me. Probably when I'll stream Guild Wars when preseason starts, but tomorrow definitely not. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I'm missing the whole last piece because I put it on Masar. Awkward. Change that really quick. And we'll do one RTA match, so I just don't decay. Although I'm already in the decay. Like, why do I even need it? This was on Basalt, I believe. Where did my Bazaar piece go? Wait. Who ate my piece? Am I just blind? Do I just not see it? It's a not. It's oh, it's a defense percentage. I think it's defense. Wait. Oh, it's flat defense. Okay, it's flat defense. Okay. Oh man, but yeah, that's my daily rant for Epic 7 PvP. It's just very, 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 very toxic, not fun right now for Epic 7 PvP, which is why I've been taking a break. I will still play people in the Discord though, so that's how I get my RTA fill, is by actually fighting people in the Discord. But from what I've heard, the secret tech is Samurai Seria, so here's still hoping that Samurai Seria fixes it. Samurai Seria will hopefully fix my account. I'll do one RTA fight and then I'll call it a night. Because I'm getting pretty tired. It's getting pretty late. I streamed way longer than I thought I would. That got me too heated with this RTA discussion, man. I always get too heated when it comes to RTA. We'll do one. We'll see how it goes. We're in champion right now, so we can have fun. Jirai Racer, she's actually a really good unit. Like, Samurai Sarah is actually a really good unit right now. Alright. Let's Lux that game. The bands match should come out in a couple of hours. Bro, can you imagine seeing a Violet first pick? Like, that just tilts your mental. Like, immediately if I saw a Violet first pick, I would just instantly, my mental would just be gone. Alright, let me think. We can pick Rem later. Pick Charlotte. Actually, I'll pick Ross. Go to Charlotte. I could go into Cleave though. Like, the thing about it is, if they did this, I could also have gone. If I had a Cleave, I could go Polides and just cleave him. Cross, whatever. Cross. This is like the exact same draft. He's gonna pick a DPS here. Oh, he picked the Polides for himself. I picked the Charlotte, so now we definitely go. Should we go full RNG gamer? Should we go full RNG gamers? Or should I actually go with the cohesive? I should probably go with the cohesive. I'll go with the cohesive draft. I'll probably ban the Maid or the Landy, depending on what his last pick is. Stene? He probably bans one of my DPSs. Or the Amelia. Carl makes his team pretty squishy, but we don't have that much DPS. I'm pretty sure we lose. I'm pretty sure he bans Violet and then forces me to solo. Oh, he actually banned the 8-time limit. Well, we banned the attack buff, so we just have to kill him once. That's the reasoning. So let me see here. That is a very squishy Charlotte. I don't think I really need to S2 anything. There's no point in S2ing. Unless we S2 Ross. There's no point. Oh, first Violet dodge. Goes for a Ram so I don't trigger a counterattack. Smart. Oh. Violet dodges. Ram procs. Soul burns. Is not gonna kill. If I counterattack, he's screwed. Okay. Let's just S1 the Landy to cut the damage. This will pull the Rem. If this doesn't hit, he doesn't kill Rem, and if you proc a counterattack, I heal back to full. Oh, no counterattacks. Unfortunate. We got a sleeper Rem this time. Feels bad. I probably should have just S3 with Amelia to cycle. That was my mistake. No, I think where I messed up was I think I should have S3 with Amelia just for better cycling. Gonna go on. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. I need to keep Ross alive for as long as possible. We're gonna hit. Ooh. He's gonna die to the Charlotte unless. I just don't know how worth it this is. I should have soul burnt it. Damn it, I didn't want to push him up here. Attack break. I wanted to push up the Ross and heal the Ross, but we didn't get that, fortunately. Gonna S3. Wait, he didn't S3. I'm gonna go for something really ballsy, but I have no other choice. I have to do this. I have to do this. Do I dodge? Dodge. It's not symbol of unity though. So I imagine that's gonna be a holy sack. Yep, it's a holy sack. Aw, we died to the stunner here. We got really close though. We were one Rem counter away from winning. He kills you with the soul burn. That was close though. That was a really chill. I like the song. But yeah, that should not have been that close, by the way. But you know, the fact that we almost won that, we were one counter away. Just let that sink in. I was one counter away. If I had done S3 with Amelia at the start of the fight, I could have won. Just let that sink in. I misplayed that draft, and I had a sleeper Rem, and I almost still won. Like, the only thing I could have done would have been, like, get that proc with Rem. And then with Violet, like, with the beginning of the turn when I didn't S3 with Amelia, that took away my barrier, so I took less damage. And it made my Rem a lot squishier. And it also made it so I couldn't cycle Rem for the other one. I'm not okay. Oh, right now? Oh, yeah, tab. No. Two of these are, like, really bad. Two of these were really bad. It was a disconnect. Just valid things though. Yeah, just valid things. This one was a misplay. This one was like really unfortunate. And this one was like, here you go. And then there was a decay. Decay's so dirty, dude. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I can't play, like, if I'm not in like a good mood to play RTM and I just turn my brain off, it's just so much harder. I would usually just pick Landy. I'll probably climb the same way that I used to like climb before, which is just first pick Landy, and then just deal with anything they throw. But yeah, y'all see? It's always made. It's always gonna be made. And Landy and Stanton. It's always gonna be those three. They're just too good right now. And Charlotte. I probably should have grabbed the Charlotte for myself instead of Ross. I probably should have done that earlier. Oh, that was also a misdraft. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I hate Epic 7 PvP right now. Hopefully, Summer Sarah revives my love. But there's a good chance she won't. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace.